it all down. The Vault Studio, the best show in town. Let's show in town. Lights on, mic check. Game time, let's go. Jay George, Scotty running the show. Rock on the mix, keeping it tight. NFL talk every day, every night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Vault Studio NFL podcast, first live show of the 2025 year and 2025 season.
Live 4K. Let's go.
Draft recap. Live in 4K. Shay Shay's worst nightmare.
Hey,
Had to get a quick Shay Shay in.
Ung Shay in some trouble.
He's all right. He's all right. He'll be fine.
He'll be
He'll be
fine.
fine.
That'll be next week's show, and we got something to
We would
fill.
all lose it all. Don't worry about that.
Welcome everyone.
Jesus.
Shout out to Scotty would risk it all, I quote. Shout out to the Sporting Globe Chenside Park,
Pretty fair.
our sponsor. Make sure you get down there and have a meal, have a beer, have a hard solo on tap, CC and dry on tap, everything you want and
delicious.
more. They've got them all.
Loaded fries.
So get down the cheeseburger loaded fries.
Cool.
Wee.
Some say that's how I hit my 170. By some, me.
Are they doing an order? When's
They're not on the menu anymore, the loaded fries, but you can get the brisket loaded fries. They're just as good.
Oh, see,
They
Broxton,
deliver it?
he's in the know.
I might have had them Thursday night. They're pretty good.
So yeah, if you got any questions on that, guys, shoot your questions through while we're recording. If it's a question about what's upcoming, we'll get to it when we get to the topic.
We're not ignoring you, we swear.
No, we'll never ignore anyone.
We'll have a little
Get
question.
some questions in,
Yeah.
get some stuff in. We have so much to cover. This will also be released as a podcast. So if you're only in the live for 5 or 10 minutes and you got to go and do something else, rearrange some guts, whatever you got to do, shake
Amen to
it
that.
up, whatever you got to do. If you got to go do that, then that's fine.
Getting them
But
guts,
the
fellas.
podcast will be out tonight as well. Let's just get straight into it. Let's start with Cam Ward.
Congratulations, man. Pick number one.
Obviously, no surprise to anyone, and I know, Scotty, you're going to jump in on this as well.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a dude that didn't get his flowers on the day.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about why he didn't coming up, but he was the best quarterback in college football this year. He was well-deserved to go number one. I'll say one thing on Tennessee Titans quarterbacks that are early picks. Vince Young,
Bust.
one good season, an absolute bust.
Warren Moon.
Didn't even finish his contract.
Yeah.
Warren Moon wasn't actually drafted by
Oh, yeah, was it
the Titans. The Oilers were the Titans, but I don't
Yeah.
think he was drafted by them.
Yeah.
But had some success. You've then got Marcus Mariota again. He did win a playoff game, but was a bit of a flop, bit of a bust.
I wouldn't call him a bust. I'd call him a flop, not a bust.
A flop. And then you've got obviously Steve McNair, who was half a yard from winning a Super Bowl,
Yep.
but left the city in a body bag, unfortunately.
Oof. We're going hard off the top.
That's just factual. Like
Yeah.
the curse around Tennessee quarterbacks that are drafted early is real.
Which is rare because most of the wide receivers leave Tennessee in body bags.
because they go there to die.
Yeah.
Shout out Tyler Lockett.
Oh, man. Why'd you have to do that to me? He's
Got it.
fucking great.
Hey, you got your safety. Let's not worry about anything
Oh.
else. All right. No, you can't
You want
talk
it?
about him yet. You have to hold.
I wasn't going to talk about him, but if you brought him up,
You got to hold. You got to hold.
Scotty's
You gotta
about to bust.
hold. He's coming
I
up.
got
later.
nothing left. The tank's dry.
Yeah, hey, man, he's shooting dust out there.
Yeah.
But I feel
Bro,
like
Casper's fucking laughing
if
at
I
me.
could release we'll talk about Emawari later because the chat was on fire after he got drafted. But Cam Ward didn't get his flowers. I didn't feel.
The disservice that the media did as a whole is actually just it's just disappointing that all the big wigs, so you ESPN's obviously just a joke anyway, but ABC, all of the people that a lot of fans go to get their sport coverage just dusted over this like it was absolutely nothing.
Why do you think that is, Scott?
Well, because I think partially because the pick was probably well known to everyone that
Sure.
follows the sport a couple of weeks before. But there's only one overall pick in every draft. It's
Yeah.
a pretty special thing.
That's pretty
Amen.
statistical from you, Scotty. That took
I
some
know,
planning.
but like there's first
Wait,
rounders.
That's one. Oh, yep, one.
There's first rounders, and then there's a first overall, and there's a
Yeah.
different pedigree. And I think when you're a first overall, you deserve the flowers. And it just felt like that the coverage didn't do the service. No one did the service. Obviously, as the night progressed, bigger things came up, and everyone was just talking about everything else apart from the one person who worked his ass off to get to that number one pick, who deserved to be the number one pick.
Yeah.
and may not have been the best player in the draft going into the draft, but
There's always quarterbacks that aren't the best player in the draft that go one. Like
Yeah.
that's just the nature of the position.
He's
Yeah.
the best quarterback in the draft. though, for
100%
sure.
he is. There's
Yes.
like by every single report,
He threw
no
40
one,
touchdowns. He threw 40 touchdowns last year. You don't
Yeah.
do that by accident.
no
Like, you've
one
gotta be
was
good.
surprised. I'm pretty sure another guy threw 40 touchdowns, which we'll talk about soon as well. But I think like the one thing I take from Cam Ward, the clip that I love is when he's doing a workout with the man who can't be named until a couple of minutes later.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's saying, "Oh, let's do a rap song," and he's like, "No, I'm here to play football."
Yeah.
So you don't have hobbies outside of football. He's like, "I want to be known when people Google me. I want it to be Cam Ward, football player. That's all I care about."
Yeah.
And that is the epitome of this guy. You can like him, you can dislike him. He's obviously got that swag that a lot of young quarterbacks have.
he's definitely confident. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's confident, and then there's
Arrogance.
and there's arrogance, and
And
he's in the confident range.
He- He's confident, but he still seems like likable. Like he
Yeah.
still
Very
seems like
likable.
a respectable,
Very
like a
likable
respectable
guy.
guy. Like he's just confident in his abilities.
He's a big guy. He's got a cannon. He moves around the pocket all right. He's sneaky athletic. Like,
He didn't run. He didn't run for the combine or the pro day, did he? I don't
Nah,
think he did. I don't
But
think he ran,
that's
did he?
that's a guy that, and we'll talk about guys who did do the combine and didn't do the
Well, that's what I
combine and
wanna touch
didn't
on,
report. Cam Ward was in the category of he didn't need to.
Yeah.
Everyone knew he was the best quarterback in the draft. Everyone knew that if you wanted a quarterback and where you were pick, if you had whatever pick you had, he was the first one coming off the board. Tennessee knew that because they didn't even talk about trading back. There was no speculation of them being like, "Oh, we want a different guy." Never. It was Cam Ward's out. Everyone knew this for a month.
Yep.
Now there was the people that were like, "Oh, maybe they go Abdul Carter, maybe they do it." But at the end of the day, if you're trying to rebuild in Tennessee, which has been a long road for poor Tennessee Titans, like they've had some really poor quarterbacks. Like Ryan Tannehill's been their best quarterback for the last.
he had a good stretch.
Yeah, and
He had a
he,
good
and he was
stretch.
traded from Miami to them, and then kind of turned on for them. Derrick Henry was a superstar for them. They've lost him now. They've got no identity. I think they need this just strong-willed, strong-armed,
Face of the franchise.
face of the franchise
Yep.
that can put them back on the map a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, they need a guy.
I hope for Cam Ward's sake and for the Titans' sake that he ends up being what we think he is.
Yeah. And just
Brocky?
Sorry to cut you off there, Scotty, but it really shows the character that Warren Moon's come out and said he can wear number one and
Yeah, that
already
was so
offered him
cool.
the
that's a
jersey.
special moment.
That's
Yeah.
a retired number. You don't get that unless you're a good character. The fact that he rocked up in a suit, small chain, he's a football player. You search his name, it does come up with American football player, and it will be like that for the rest of his time.
I hope so. And if he ends up sucking,
Well said, Brocky.
there'll be no hard feelings to Titans for doing it. In 10 years' time, if Cam Ward's out of the league, no one's going to be like, "How dumb were the Titans taking Cam Ward?" It'll be, "How unlucky were the Titans that Cam Ward didn't work out?"
Yeah, yeah.
That's what's, and that was the same with Vince Young as well. Like
Well, Vince Young was
his rookie year was unbelievable. He was rookie of the year.
Yep.
And that didn't work out. No one sits back there now and goes, "Oh crap, that was an awful pick. They
No.
ruined their whole franchise." Well, I would also argue if Vince Young was drafted today, he would be one of the best quarterbacks in football. I think
Yeah.
he was probably 5 years before his time,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
10 years
fine.
before his time.
Yep.
Which is hard.
they didn't really know how to utilize the skill set efficiently.
No, and then when we talk about quarterbacks,
Just before we get there, JR, I just want to shout out XFL Down Under. Do you guys think Cam Ward can handle the rebuild emotionally? It'll be a tough slog, of course.
yeah, I think he can.
Yeah, I think he's had diversity. Like, you look through college, he went from Washington State to Miami. You know, they're big shoes to fill. He's playing big boy football. I think that would have been definitely internally for the organization, Tennessee, that would have been a big thing for them. Can he handle being the number one pick? Can he handle being the face of the franchise? Can he handle spear fronting a rebuild? And if they answer no to all those questions, they go, "Okay, cool, Abdul Carter, you're our guy."
Yeah, apparently his interviews were unreal.
Yes.
I was about to say, yeah,
Yep.
I heard that too. He's very
Like
impressive.
Tennessee Titans interviewed him and then cancelled all other interviews with quarterbacks.
Yeah,
They
they
didn't-
couldn't.
they
They,
didn't talk to
couldn't
any
shut
others.
the door quicker on
Yeah.
Sador.
They were just
They got rid of the private jet, got rid of the workout. So don't worry about it. Find another city.
do your showcase somewhere else.
Yeah.
The other guy, I think,
Oh,
and Jackson Dart, I want to talk about him. We're going to talk about the first round quarterbacks first. Obviously, the Giants traded back in later in the first. I think it was pick 25 in the first
Yep.
round.
Yep.
I
They
like
traded back
this.
in for him. Got Jackson Dart. I don't know about Jackson Dart. I think he's Daniel Jones with some absolute go about him. I think that's the big difference. He could flop. And if he does, it'd be really funny as someone who hashtag fuck the Giants. But I think they did everything right. Again, I don't think in 5 years' time, if Jackson Dart hasn't worked out, I don't think we're all sitting there going, the Giants really stuffed this up.
I always get around a guy who's got a cannon and looks to run over defenders. If you tick those boxes, I feel like you can work with all the other things.
Yes.
That's the cannon can't teach. The dog you can't teach.
No, you can't.
One of his actual negatives are that he absorbs too much contact for a quarterback. But I look at that and go, hey, that's a guy that's going to hang into the pocket to the very last second to drop a 50-yard bomb on a guy streaking that's got 3 or 4 yards. If he's willing to take that hit, he's willing to win a game. And
It feels
more often
Baker-like.
than not,
Feels very Baker
with a bigger cannon.
with a bigger arm, and a bigger dude.
And a bigger
He's a
man,
big dude,
yeah.
Yeah. So I like the pick. I liked him pre-draft. I really liked him. I think
188 centimeters, great height, 188 centimeters. Everyone who's 188 centimeters are ripper blokes,
cool
ripper
down, Chief.
podcasters. They're fantastic.
Cannon arms.
If you're 186 centimeters, like
Custard.
I don't know, like a guy like Mark Doyle, you're useless. You're basically dead to everyone.
We're going to keep this in a tight ship, all right? Stop talking
They've
about
all
yourself.
got a
you
nice,
fuckwit.
nice hammer as well.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
No, this
Really?
Hit the tight
I
shit,
like-
Scotty.
I like that.
I love
And
this.
also,
Trading back in is good.
they didn't give up too much to get back into the
No.
first round pick. We're probably going to talk about this later, but what Atlanta gave up to get back into the draft is just stupid.
A bit too much. Yes.
But they gave up their second round, which they basically moved up the draft 10
10 spots.
10 spots. They gave up pick 99 or 100 off memory,
Then a second next year.
a third next year.
A third next year. Like not giving up a first round next year is huge.
That's fine.
And
It's
if that's the
massive.
guy and that's all you give up, unless like,
Because then if you suck next year, you still got your first round pick.
and we've seen this before. Not too long ago, the Texans got the quarterback in the first round, who was Stroud,
Mhm.
and then traded back in to get Anderson.
Will Anderson, yeah.
So we've seen this formula before. They got the absolute stud D end in Carter, and they've traded back in to get the quarterback, who I think is going to be a stud. I'm really high on him.
Also, the best comparison to this, and Brocky will attest this, is what the Ravens did a few years ago with Lamar.
Yep.
Everyone kept comparing Lamar to Shador, but like
What?
in saying like, oh, well, he fell. Why didn't teams want to come back up and get Shador? The difference is that like even the Ravens, they took a 26-year-old tight end before they took Lamar.
Yeah.
But they traded back in, got him, and the value was so high. He's obviously turned out amazingly. Like he's won 2 MVP. He's one of the best quarterbacks
Yeah.
in football. So it's paid off. But I think this, I said it kills me to talk about how good the Giants did, but getting Dart, and we'll talk about what they did with their third overall pick in a minute. But I also think Dart we talked about Cam Ward not needing the combine. Dart was the opposite.
Yep. This
Dart
is my
did
point.
every single thing teams asked him to the point where he was like, hey, at my pro day,
Yep.
to the teams that are interested in me,
Yeah.
what do you want to see from me?
Yep. This
What
is
do you
my
want me
point.
to run? How do you want me to run it? What do you want me to show? They gave him notes. So this is what we want to see.
Yep.
And then he went and implemented it in his
You know what that shows for a
day.
young man? It shows a real high level of professionalism. And coaches like
He's a
that. I
very
bet-
high
I
character
bet
guy.
I bet you Dave will love the interview with
Well,
his
that's what I
Loved
want
it.
to touch
Yeah.
on. So this is a perfect project for Dable.
Yeah.
So he's got the cannon. The cannon's there. That's a huge tick.
Yep.
He wants to be a footballer and he wants to learn. Now, Dable runs a pretty what's the word? Like it's a very complicated system. It's a lot
Yeah,
of
it is.
verbiage. It's a lot of moving parts. It's
Convoluted is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
So
Convoluted.
and he will work in with Dart.
Mm.
And who better do you want than the person who's basically the pioneer for turning Josh Allen around? Dable was that person.
Yep.
Nagy was there, but Dable was the main driving force. And now you've got
That's fair.
probably a better product if you're taking the two drafts.
Like a starting
prospect,
product, you mean?
Yeah.
well,
You're
that's fair.
probably
Yeah.
taking a better draft product now as at a quarterback. Josh Allen's a better athlete, but
Do you
as
know
a
what-
quarterback.
Do you know what sold me on Jackson Dart as the man Jackson Dart? His first like release on, I think it was on Instagram or TikTok, whatever it was. His first like thing about him being drafted was about he's got 2 nephews and a niece. It was about how hard it will be for him living in New York and being away from his nephews
Yeah.
and nieces. That
High
that's,
character guy.
that's a character dude. That's
Yeah.
his like. He's like, oh, I've obviously got to go now to New York. This is where I've been drafted. I'm sure he's rapped by it, and all reports he was.
Yep.
But it wasn't, oh, I've been drafted. How good am I? It was, shit, I can't believe I got to not see my niece and nephew as much.
Even-
That's character.
Even like you see the video, and piggybacking off your point,
Hmm.
it was just all family and friends. It
Yeah.
there wasn't a posse. There wasn't like all these fill-ins. There wasn't all these other people
Guys
that
wearing those
tried-
stupid fucking oversized hats. Which,
we can
cannot
keep
understand.
shitting
Hey,
on
you don't
Shador.
fucking talk shit about Gilly.
But,
I love Gilly on this
can you please
podcast.
get 4 of those oversized hats for next
No,
podcast?
Yes.
I don't need an oversized hat. with
I-
this head.
I-
Every
I-
hat's oversized.
I don't-
Oh,
But-
Pinhead McGuinness.
it's not the head, it's the neck, boys. That's what I'm telling you. It just makes the head look small.
Real Dwight Howard operation. No, but like just like on the character, friends, family, everyone is just very, buttoned up. And then other
Close
prospects.
knit.
Yeah, other prospects, you got like, smoke outs and whatever else is happening, and it's a party and all of this.
There's
It's like,
sponsors sponsoring
Yeah.
the draft. Well, let's just get into it. Let's get to the
All right.
elephant in the room,
Yeah.
which is Shador Sanders.
Yeah.
Predicted to go
vindication.
vindication. Predicted to go anywhere in the top 20. Most people had him going in the top 10.
Well, you
I'm-
and I both said the Browns were going to take it.
I am wrapped that those teams didn't shit the bed and do it.
Yeah.
I've got some of my points, and I wrote some points down because I wanted to really be clear and concise about my feelings of Shador and try and make it less of a personal distaste and more of a player distaste.
Yes.
Hey, lay it on me, big boy. Getting them guts.
So these are my thoughts. These are my thoughts on it. Teams didn't want the circus he brings, which we all saw draft day,
Yes.
the absolute circus.
Oh.
His interviews were horrible. He acted like he didn't give a fuck and was too good to even have interviews. And his attitude reflects this. Nobody likes his number being retired.
No.
Not one person outside of the Colorado
Apart from
system
Daddy.
has liked his number being retired. It's an absolute nepo baby move. Not to mention his arrogant, dismissive, entitled attitude towards it at the presentation. Wear a suit, say some nice things about the organization. Don't make it all about you. He didn't do that. He's an average talent. He's an average athlete, average
Poor
arm strength,
character.
average character. The only thing he's slightly above average for is accuracy, which I believe is a product of the system and the fact that he never takes risks with the ball.
And the proof's in the pudding. They're all under coverage throws and
Yes.
screens.
Yes. All this culminates to teams not being willing to put up with the bullshit that he brings. If he was a better player, teams would be more prepared to take a chance on him. They aren't. He isn't. That's
he's
clear.
not.
Caleb Williams had similar character concerns last year, and the Bears not as arrogant, but similar. He was a bit of a zesty,
Oh, no,
polarizing
yeah,
sort of figure.
He's a bit zesty, but he didn't have a huge circus
He
following.
was
him.
pretty
Like,
arrogant.
But he was also beloved by everyone.
Agreed.
He-
But
no one
similar-
ever said to
similar
him-
feelings around when you drafted Caleb Williams last year, you were bringing a circus with you. You
Where
were.
was it?
Yeah,
But he was zesty. He was a bit over the top.
What's
He
wrong with
painted-
that?
the
I agree,
nails,
but you could also argue what's wrong with Shaw Sanders being a bit arrogant and a bit.
Okay.
If Shaw Sanders was Andrew Luck, no one would have given a shit. They would have taken him number one
I
and not cared
disagree.
a bit about
I
Dion.
disagree with
No,
that.
like I agree with Jay.
And
No,
I think the
because
bottom
the
line
arrogance-
is the talent didn't outweigh his view of his own talent was chasms apart from where everyone else viewed him.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest issue.
Mm.
Dable has reported from their interview that he gave him homework 3 days before and said, come in, we're going to talk about these plays, these coverages, what you're going to do in that. He came in and was like, I didn't even look at it.
And he
Like-
put his name to that as
and-
well.
and
This
he-
isn't an anonymous
No, this is
source.
Dable
This
came out.
came out and said that.
And he said,
That's a
and he was-
powerful thing.
And he was like, I didn't do it. And he's like, why didn't you do it? You're coming in for a fucking job interview. This is a job interview, the combine. You were interviewing for teams to risk like that is Dable and Schobel's job if they're going to draft you.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
need to come in and sell them that you are the fucking man. You're going to work hard, do all the right things. The fact that you can't even just spend a couple of days so you can come in and go, hey, Brian, looked at all your stuff. Awesome. Here's my thoughts on it. And I'm sure Dable's going to go, well, you're wrong here. You're right there, and go, cool. This is why we're talking. This is why we're doing this because
Yes.
I want to learn from you
Yeah,
and be better.
yeah.
He didn't have that attitude.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'll say, Shador, when he finally got drafted in the 5th round,
Yes.
I think when he answered that phone call, and this is me, paraphrasing, but I think he got it because his words were, I just need an opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity.
Mhm.
So I think this, time will tell if this had the impact that it had, But
I think he was just embarrassed. I don't know.
I saw, but
I don't-
embarrassment sometimes what fixes things.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to sound off on the greater media as well, because everyone's egos got inflated because they're either
Butthurt.
mates with Dion.
Butthurt is the word.
No, but pre-draft,
Yep.
everyone's talking about, look what he does here, look what he does there, look at his highlights. His highlights are underthrown balls because he's got subpar talent. Stop propping him up. Stop, like the media.
And Hunter bailing him out.
Yes, or Hunter led the league in come back to the quarterback catches at like 18% because the balls are underthrown.
Yep.
He's not running he's not running
If he didn't have
comeback
Hunter last
routes.
year, he wouldn't have even been talked about in the draft.
Yeah.
That's how big a job Hunter did.
but the rest of the media propped him up, and his own doing as well. Daddy's,
Yep.
propped him up. Everyone's propped him up. It's an accumulative effort, and they've ripped the foundations out from under him. And now they're all, like you said, they're all butthurt. Oh, I've got him here. He is a top 20 talent. He's this, he's that, he's this. And they're all in chaos like control, trying to save their own reputations. And just say you got it wrong.
yes.
Because I firmly believe that 32 other teams didn't get it wrong.
Right.
No.
They knew. They all
These
knew.
teams, these aren't ho-hum Gridiron Victoria clubs.
No.
Like, these are professional.
Hey, shout out to
football
GB.
teams.
But these are guys that are watching guys in high school.
Yes,
They've
scouted
seen
them. They've
this.
scouted them since he was at Jackson State.
Yeah.
Now his numbers are good for Shador. He's had some good numbers in college football. He hasn't won a lot. He's won an okay amount at a crappy college
Against crappy competition.
against a lot of crappy competition. And I want to go back to our boy Aaron Kemp, because he sent me in. He specifically sent a message in when Shador fell. Now, he said last week, we talked about this, he said, Shador sucks, all the attitude, all the swag, will be low-range starter, not a first-round pick. I hate that he's having number retired. His message to me was, I can't remember, this is the first time I can remember that the media has driven a narrative that he is good. Even the lead piece in ESPN made no mention of Cam Ward, the number one pick, but was
That's our point.
gassing up Sanders because of his dad. And for the first time ever, clubs are just saying, you're not good enough despite what daddy says, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
This
Couldn't agree more.
You reap what you sow. You behave in a certain way, and eventually it catches up with you. And these teams, they're professional organizations that are going to pay a lot of money for these players, in particular quarterbacks. The fact that 32 of them went, you can call it blackballing, you can call it whatever
Which is a
you
load of
want.
shit.
It is a load of shit.
A particular.
But I
person.
do not believe that all 32 GMs got on the phone together and
No,
got
of course
on a
not.
teams meeting and went, hey, no one takes Shador. Let's send a
Of course.
message.
If he
here."
was that good, someone would have gone, fuck you all. We're going to take him. He's going to win us a chip, and we're all going to laugh.
100%. That's exactly what would have happened.
Because they're all in competition with each other. They're not,
Exactly.
exactly.
There's no like group discussion where they're like, we're
there's
not
no
taking
group chat saying let's
which
just
is ridiculous.
Do you
fuck
And
reckon
Dion.
all,
guys
do you reckon all
like-
the GMs have a group chat?
I hope they do.
How funny would that be, group chat?
Fuck, it'd be
Mate, they would have been laughing at the Browns every other year.
The Browns took Deshaun Watson a couple of years ago and paid him $240 million when no one wanted to touch him. The fact that they're saying that he's blackballed is a load of crap. I 100% agree with it. It's not a thing. They were trying to stand out that you can be a flashy quarterback in college. You can wear all this jewelry, but this is the pro NFL league. It doesn't fly here. If you want to be drafted high, act like a pro in college.
Yeah. He had
I reckon-
$1.7 million of bling on him during his draft party.
Fuck with.
Now,
I reckon
Oh.
if there was a group chat 2 weeks into Watson being the starter, Browns have left the chat.
Yeah.
yes, 100%. 100%.
That's very
Real-
good. That's very
Hey,
good, Scott.
respectable move. I'm about it.
And
That-
I will say one thing. I want to defend Shador with one
person?
situation.
yes,
The prank call, bit of a laugh.
I found it
get
funny.
it,
I found it funny.
but
Fuck him.
like, one, I want to know how that number got leaked, because someone in the NFL has leaked that. Also, the fuckwits that decided to then release the video of
Yeah,
him doing
that's
it,
dumb.
you have just destroyed your life.
Mm.
Because Dion is an incredibly powerful person.
Yep.
He will already know who you are. It would not surprise me if you get roughed up in the next couple
I
of
don't.
years.
We're just not going to get a job.
Yeah, like people are going to be like, you're a tool.
Yeah.
It was tool behavior from a couple of frat boys that think it's funny. Yeah, look, I get it. There's a time and a place for this sort of shit. There was enough stuff on social media having a lot. I enjoyed the fall because of how much of an arrogant prick he was. But then I also at points felt a little bit bad for him because he is just a human being.
Yes,
he's a
and-
20-year-old kid.
I think this is another thing. Like when he's falling, we don't need to see a camera on him. We don't need to see a camera. And
But that's also his dad doing that. They were filming a documentary.
can I
Let's see if
can I
that
get
gets
into the
released.
worst part about this? So I
Yeah.
watched a lot of day 2, right? And what was happening in day 2 was so you get your second and third rounds. There's a player that gets picked. They announce the pick. The very first thing, it's Nick Saban, a few other guys. I can't believe Shador didn't get picked then.
Yeah.
Shador does this.
Yeah.
There is a kid that just, his life dream has just come true. He's just been drafted to the NFL. He's in the top 1%. He's drafted in the second or third round, and no one is even addressing this poor kid that's put his whole life up to that point into this moment.
Yeah.
You can't get 30 seconds of, they get through the highlight and they go, oh, yeah, here's a good tackle, good reach, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Shador. I can't believe he's still falling. Mel Kiper's out there. Like,
Mel Kiper was a genuine fucking moron.
he's got
He
no
looked like
credibility before
he
this
looked
draft.
like a tool.
Yeah.
Like he looked like an idiot.
Yeah, but why is he so mad? I just don't
even,
get it.
even Todd McShay, who said something before the draft about I can't believe what's happening. He got over it and was like, okay, well he's falling.
Do you
It
know-
is what it is?
So the Mel Kiper's ESPN, I believe.
Yes.
So Mel Kiper's ESPN thing. So Giants trade up to get Dart. Terrible pick. You shouldn't be trading up for him. I had Shador number 2 F.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
That is in your rundown of the pick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's been scrubbed or some editors looked at it, but if you could probably find it. Someone's got a screenshot of it. Gave the trade an F in real time because he didn't pick Shador.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
What a
man.
fuckwit.
Yeah.
Mel Kiper, I hope this finds you. You're a fuckwit.
Yeah.
And we also like
I like how angry he's getting.
he's
Oh, it's just
got he's
piss-
a real Shador hater.
No, no. It's not Shador. It's the whole process, the whole thing around it. I'm more upset with all the other kids like Cam Ward and everyone else drafted in the first 3 rounds that did not get their flowers because every single person was more worried about Shador.
Mm.
Shador was more worried about Shador. Dion was more worried about Shador. ESPN, ABC, everyone was more worried about
How
Shador
much
and their
of that-
damage control.
My question is, how much of that is them just trying to protect their own credibility? Because
Fuck
I
their
had that rating so
credibility.
high.
No
But
one
they've
gets
never
the draft
cared.
right.
They get it wrong all the time, and
Exactly.
they're never this upset about it.
Yeah, so
I
why are
think
they
it's
so
a-
upset? Is my
I
question.
think it's about them protecting their relationship with Deion Sanders.
Yes.
Who's been a media representative. He's worked for ESPN. He's
Who
worked for Fox.
cares?
He's now a coach. You need to grade these players the way they are.
Mm.
Like that is your job. That's what
Yeah,
you do.
yeah, exactly.
Like, and Daniel Jeremiah, who I love Daniel
Oh,
Jeremiah.
yeah, he's an absolute gun.
And
Yeah.
he came out and was like, he literally said at one point to Rich Eisen,
Yep.
stop talking about Shador.
Mhm.
When he's drafted, we'll give him his due credit when he's
Sure.
drafted.
Z-Line did the same thing. He's
He's-
like, I'm sick of talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the guys getting drafted.
He's
Good.
falling. We can all talk about this on our podcast of why he felt and our feelings on it and all that sort of
Yep.
crap. But right now, let's talk about the guys we're talking about. Like Rich Eisen did a full monologue about how NFL players draft guys who have done a lot worse things than what Shador Sanders has done. The
That
bottom
monologue
line is,
went over 3 picks.
Yeah,
Like, there's 3 kids have now just got their dreams, and you're just shitting on
at the end
them.
of the day, if teams don't want to draft him and invest in him, they do not have to. That is 100% their prerogative. And every NFL team felt the same way. So what does that tell you? That the common denominator
It's
is
6 times around.
6
too.
times around.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
common denominator is Shador Sanders, not the rest of the NFL. When
Yep.
32 franchises
Anyway,
who all they want to do is win are saying, we don't want this guy, the problem's not the 32 franchises. The
And-
problem is Shador.
we're part of the problem now because we're fucking.
No, but it's a notable conversation.
I think your point about the not giving the other kids flowers in the meantime is a very good point.
I
And that's why I want to get
That-
out of the
that-
way now.
That's the thing that pissed me off the
That's where
most.
they've worked
Honestly,
very hard.
I was obviously, and I've put it on the podcast, I put it out there that I was really low on him, did not rate him at all, did not rate the character, did not rate a lot of him. And I thought a lot of the shit was, I could see the smoke through it all. I could see it through all the smoke.
Yeah,
But-
in fairness to you, in credit to you, Scotty, you've been saying this for 3 months.
Yeah.
Like this is
Never
not,
saw
you
it.
didn't just say it a couple of weeks ago. Like I really got on it when I saw the number retirement, and then I was kind of like, whatever. And then when I saw the presentation, that was it for me. I'm
Yeah.
like, this guy doesn't give a shit about anything but himself.
But
And
yeah,
I
there
hope
were
that
60 other
changes.
kids that lived their dream and did
He-
not get any recognition or the recognition they deserved because of
And Shador Sanders now has a chance to prove everyone wrong.
So
That's his goal now. In a
I
year's
don't think it's going to
time-
happen, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Well, the difference was
Well,
Dion
it
had
did in
all
the
the same
athletic
attitude,
department.
but Dion was just so good
Right.
at football.
But if you remember his pre-draft interviews, he was equally as big a dickhead, if not
Yes,
worse.
but he was so
where are you
good.
picking number 10? I'm not going to be that far. Don't worry about it. I
Yeah.
ain't reading this shit.
100%.
But
But
he
he
was-
was like, but he was talented.
Did he win the Heisman?
No, I don't think
The
so.
Heisman
I don't think so. But he was
finalist?
like he was a superstar and then backed it up.
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
don't think Shador has the ability to back up.
All
the
I'm
way he
saying is that
behaves.
about the attitude, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to change.
I think so too. I hope in a year's time we're sitting here after one season going, Shador's a starting quarterback for the Browns. Wow, fantastic!
I don't.
What a turnaround for the kid.
I don't.
Because I just want I personally want these guys to have the best success. They
I
can.
want everyone to do well. I just
Yeah.
don't see it happening.
No, I agree. I don't
That's-
see it,
that's what I should
but
say.
the challenge is now in his hands. Now we've got the Shador stuff out of the way.
Let me
Just
Yeah.
before we get off, Mikhail Kuiper gave the Cleveland Browns an 8.
Mikal Kuiper?
Mikal?
Is that his cousin from another mother?
That's his cousin. That's probably the smarter one.
You fucked it up without the drop.
Fuck you, Scott.
Whoa.
He gave the Cleveland Browns an A+ on the draft simply because they got Shador. That's the only reason he gave him an A+.
No, he didn't.
Hunt-
Yes. Starts was his first paragraph was how good the pick with Shador was in the 5th round.
The other-
Value.
The other main
value
reason I
because
gave the
had
Browns
him
an A+,
fourth
shouldn't be
overall.
surprised they got quarterback Shador Sanders at 144 to finish the 7th pick draft.
Yuck.
He was my number 5th overall prospect in the class and cleared QB1.
Oh,
Hey, and in 6 months' time, we're going to know a lot about this. And I said, let's move on. Let's get to
you're a fuckwit. Kyle.
pick. I hope Kuiper sends us a message. That'd be
Good.
great.
Oh, fucking let's box on, cunt.
Can we add him? Let's
Scotty, we're live.
let's message him instead.
I might send him
I
a
got a
clip.
short clip for him.
I might send him a clip or two. Let's get to the back. To
I reckon
the,
his inbox is absolutely blowing up.
yeah, so to be
True.
fair.
Yeah.
Same with last point on Shador, and then we're going to move
Yeah,
on.
we're not talking
Anyone-
about this again.
Anyone that makes this a racial thing,
Nah,
when a
that's
black quarterback
ridiculous.
went number 1, looking at you, who's the idiot that wanted to fight LeBron a couple of weeks ago? What's his name?
I can't stand it.
Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen
Stephen
A.
A. Smith. Anyone who wants to make this a racial thing,
That was the first thing I
They're,
said
like,
in the chat.
90% of the 90% of the players in the first round were black.
Yeah.
90% of the best players in the NFL are black.
How's choosing your narrative any more than saying, "Oh, this is a black thing" when a black quarterback went number 1 overall? Like,
Comparing this to
what the-
Kaepernick,
Kaepernick,
is
yeah.
outrageous. Kaepernick had run his race in the NFL and he wasn't a good player anymore,
yes,
and then bought the circus with him. So teams were like, again, not good enough to put up with him.
Yep.
If he was the best player in the league still, every team would have put up with him.
Yep.
That's it. Button on it. Let's go.
Yep.
Brocky?
Tom Arthur with the fact check. Sanders didn't win the Heisman. Barry Sanders did.
was he a finalist?
He must have been, yes.
Yeah, I think he was a finalist. I think I did say that he may have been a finalist.
Yeah. Yeah,
But thanks for
Tommy.
keeping me on my toes. I'm fucking all G'd up.
And you
I
know,
love draft. It is like Christmas for me.
and Tommy Arthur gets all the respect in the room because of the song. he
Oh,
wrote
the
as well.
intro's so humble.
Uh,
about.
Absolute
And the
banger.
GIF. I saw the GIF. I was looking for the GIF, and you know what we're talking about. You just beat me to it. It was fantastic. It was incredibly accurate.
Awesome work, Tommy.
Yeah.
Let's get to pick 2 in the draft. This was probably one of the more surprising.
Dion was
things.
8th.
Eighth overall. 8th in the Heisman.
8th in Heisman.
Cool.
Yep.
So the Jags swap picks in the first round with the Browns.
Browns, yeah.
Browns move back to 5. Jags come up. They land Hunter. In a draft, like I think the Jaguars, and we can talk about teams. I think teams that think they're in a winning window is great. Now, whether you can agree the Jags or disagree the Jags are in that window,
I don't think
a
that's too
different
far away.
conversation.
I don't think that's too far
They've
away.
got a franchise quarterback in their mind,
Yep.
in most people's mind, not everyone's mind. He's got some pressure on him. In Lawrence, they lost some receivers in the offseason. The fact that they went, you know what, we think from really everyone, we talk about chippers, right? Blue chippers in this draft.
Yep.
There was 2. It was Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. They were the
No,
2.
Genty.
And Genty, sorry, and Genty.
I think there might have
was
been about 4, but 4 or 5. But
very
yeah, your points-
limited,
Yeah.
very limited blue chippers.
Yep.
The fact that as a team they went, we're going to be really good next year. So let's give up our first round pick because that is going to be in the 20s, and let's move up to 2 and get Travis Hunter, who is going to make an instant impact for our franchise and help us on the field. I loved it. I actually thought it was them. Actually, for once, the Jaguars going, we need to be aggressive.
Being aggressive, yeah.
Now, if
doing
it doesn't,
something,
if
yeah.
Hunter sucks, it's all going to look terrible. But the
If he
effort-
doesn't,
if he's the generational football player that a lot of people think he's going to be, then they have made
You can't
absolute
shit on
right
that
move.
pick. The kid won the Heisman, man. He dominated in college.
exactly.
Like, you
Best
can't shit on
receiver,
that pick.
best DB.
You can't.
And like we in the pre-draft, we said he may not be exceptional at both. But when his time split 50-50 playing both, how can he grow in one of the fields to be exceptional?
Yes.
So I can see that point of view.
What do you think he plays for the Jags? I think DB.
I
personally.
think now receiver, because now you got Brian Thomas Jr. as a genuine one, and then you got Hunter as a 1A.
and Hunter is a very good outside receiver, great in the contested catch.
Yeah.
Obviously, a supreme athlete. You don't
Only
go-
because so many underthrown balls. For him.
yeah, but he's
A lot of practice in contested catches.
he's an absolute athlete though. Like this guy he's a jet. So you put him with
Absolutely.
Brian Thomas, you then move Brian Thomas all over the place, and then have Travis Hunter just sitting on those. Everyone's worried about Brian Thomas, and here's Travis Hunter.
Yep.
I can just see it next year. Travis Hunter 1-on-1 just running past guys.
Oh yeah. He's
And
definitely got that in him for sure. Yeah.
I love this move. I loved it from the Jags. Like I hope it doesn't backfire on them because I think for once they're actually trying to improve.
Got to
themselves.
respect them having a swing.
I think
Yeah.
this is a genuine win-win for both teams.
Yeah,
And
we'll talk Browns in a sec. Yeah, but
I
absolutely.
think, like you said, they've obviously gone, hey, this pick's going to be in the 20s next year. We're probably not going to get game-changing talent. We have to give up a future first, but we could get the best player in the draft.
Yes.
And we're not going to be picking in pick 5 again.
No.
So we're
No,
gonna
they're
use
back.
this-
They're banking that they're going to be a good football team.
Yep.
They had a down year. They made a couple of bad
Which
moves.
is-
Didn't pay off.
which
Lawrence
is
was
very
injured.
true.
Yeah.
Which is very true. There was just something with like Peterson. There was something in the water. They underperformed. They've got good, good talented like defense.
Yeah.
They
Everyone's
lost-
like, oh, they should have taken Carter. Well, they've got Walker, who
and who came on.
everyone's forgetting about. He's been terrific. He was
Yeah.
terrific last season
and the year
and
before.
pretty good the year before.
Yep.
And then
Hines Allen.
they've got Hines Allen,
Yep.
who I don't know if he signed helmet for nothing. Like
Yeah.
the dude's a dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got good.
Like they've got
players.
some good football players,
So-
so I don't mind them doing that. And then Hunter, if they need to, can play DB for them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
I think he would for sure. There's going to be situations where he's definitely playing both ways.
Hunter is one of these guys that I'm going to thoroughly be excited about watching how he progresses the next couple of seasons.
And the thing that I love about more that I think about this with this pick, they've got someone in their building that everyone's going to go and watch. Like Jacksonville, we're not too
Yes.
far removed. They had blackout games for 7 or 8 home games a year for such
not
a
too far
long time.
removed. Like
Yeah.
last season at
Mm.
points they couldn't sell tickets.
Yeah, so blackout games, for people who don't know, blackout games is so your home game does not get played in your state. So if you want to go watch the game, you have to go to the field.
You have to go watch
because-
it live. Yeah.
because they're not selling enough tickets. So they weren't getting bums in seats. So now they've got a guy where the whole world is like, hey, what are they going to do with him?
And it's
What-
exciting.
And
He's
he's a
genuinely
gun.
exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait for preseason to see what he's doing.
Exactly. I think there's going to be a lot of eyeballs watching
I
Jacksonville.
want to see
And
how many DB snaps is he getting in practice? How many wide receivers? Where are they playing?
is he
What are they
torching
doing
guys?
with him?
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he struggling at the better is they play him at DB like, oh, he's struggling a bit. But he's doing really well at wide receiver. Okay, he's a receiver this year.
Yeah.
And then next offseason, oh shit, we just lost a DB in free agency. Oh, hey, let's just swap Hunter around and see if he's ready. We'll give him a whole preseason to practice. And it's so cool. It is honestly, like, we haven't had a guy like Hunter. In my time watching football, there's not been a guy like Travis Hunter into the NFL.
The intrigue's definitely there.
Not both ways like that. No.
No, and then for the Browns, they pick up a first round pick next year, which is
Yep.
great. And then they get a guy that we all loved in Mason Graham at 5,
absolutely.
who I think everyone had him going 5 to the Jags.
Yes.
And the fact that they still get him, which I think the Browns wanted him. I think theoretically they were like, we're really
Happy to have
happy
him,
having
yeah.
Mason Graham. They knew what the Pats were going to do. They knew what the Giants were going to do. They were like their best case scenario was that the Giants screw the pooch and took Shador and they'd get Carter or McMillan.
yeah.
But they
or
got
you get the tackle. What's his name? Will
so I meant Will
Yeah,
Campbell.
yeah,
Will Campbell. So you end up getting Will
Name is
Campbell
escaping, yeah.
at 5.
Yep.
But I just think that Mason Graham, he brings the Browns some dog.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, is he ceiling as high as other players in this draft? No, but that's because his floor's so high. Like you know what you're going to get. He's going to be a terrific pro. You put him next to Myles Garrett. I guarantee
Good
you
luck.
he's going to love playing with Myles Garrett,
Mhm.
and Myles Garrett is going to love playing with him.
No
They
doubt.
could become a really good tandem. They're trying to strengthen their strength, which
Yep.
is the defense.
I love that. I love any team that does that as
Yep.
a philosophy.
Yep. And their
So-
second round pick, while we're talking about the Browns, it was Schleiser, I think it was. Schweisinger,
Yeah.
the linebacker out of
He's an
UCLA.
absolute gun. Actually, while we're talking about the Browns, I think their first, up until Gabriel, the quarterback, which
We'll talk
talk
about
about.
later.
their first 4 picks, I think, are genuine starters in the NFL.
Yeah.
Even though they've got a Kongwu, like Fannin is, if you've got the ball in his hands, he's like creates space. He can throw a tight end screen. He's, a lot of yak.
Yeah, and also Njoku's
A
going into
playmaker.
his 8th year off the top of my head in the
Yeah.
NFL. He's getting older.
Mm.
His contract's pretty high. Like he was the highest paid tight end when they re-signed him
Yep.
3 years ago. So his contract's up there. They can move away from him if they want to, or they can play 2 tight ends
Which
and
is
then
what
put in
everyone does.
put in Junkins, who is their rookie running back.
Who's a freak.
And I also don't go away from the Browns bringing back Chubb because I think no one signed Chubb yet, and I
Yep.
think if anyone was going to do it, I think the Browns should just bring him back.
Yep.
No expectations. Let's see what you do for 1
Yeah.
year.
And
vet
like
me
they're
in
not
off you
too
go.
bad at wideouts. Like Judy's okay. Like,
Judy's good.
yeah.
Judy came off a really good year.
If only they had someone to throw the ball, they'll be
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We'll talk about QB situation later for the
Yep.
Browns because we want to talk about Gabriel. Let's move on to, we're going to jump a few spots ahead. Let's talk about our boy Genty going number 6 to the Raiders. We
Great
were unsure. We thought this would be a great pick for them.
I think you two were pretty confident
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I
that
can't
Pete
remember.
Carroll would get this, and
I
I
thought
was,
he would. I also thought I wanted him to land in Chicago, and I'm disappointed he didn't. But I also think him being a Raider, you pair him. You've now got Brock Bowers,
Mhm.
Gino, Carroll. Like
They
I'm
took
starting to.
a
There's an
wide receiver in the
identity.
second that was really good.
But
Not
we can
Higgins,
see an identity now for
100%.
the Raiders. You can see Pete
Brock-
Carroll's come in and gone. Let's have an identity
Get off your phone.
for what this team's going to be.
Talking about second round draft picks, and I didn't get down to the R. I ran out of time.
Who they take in the second round? No, up a bit higher for the
No,
Raiders.
yeah, you need to go to the Raiders, mate. Fucking hell, this show's off the rails.
There he is. No, he's doing a good job. He's all over the shop.
You're doing good, Brocky. Don't listen to
Raiders
Scotty.
second round pick was
Jack Beck.
Jack Beck.
Yeah,
So that's it. But I can see an identity from them. They want to run the ball. They have Gino, who's good on play action. They want to run the ball. We're going to run it 30 times a game.
Yeah.
With the best running back that's come out of college since Saquon Barkley, probably.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I also think that his college numbers are they're second best ever in the
Yep.
history of college football.
Doesn't
So-
happen by accident.
No, like you don't be a crappy player. We all talked about the way he sent out an open letter to the NFL saying
I like it.
you play tackle football, draft the guy who can't be tackled.
Mhm.
I like
Like
it.
I love the guy that's just like, I am who I am,
Yeah.
and I'm here to play football.
There's a
He's a
difference-
meat and tater operator.
There's a
running back.
difference in that confidence and arrogance, and
Yes.
there is a fine line in between. But that is confident that doesn't rub off as arrogant.
No, and
No, because he's got the fucking numbers and the tape to back it up.
and
Yes,
also
absolutely.
he could have left Boise State and gone to any
Well,
college he wanted in
He
his last
actually
year, and he
actually
said
got a
no.
lot of offers. He
Yeah,
goes, "This is the
tons.
team. I was like a
Mm.
2 to 3 star out of high school.
Yep.
This team had faith in me, and this is my team.
I'm fulfilling my faith in the team that had faith in me.
Nothing but respect for any player that does that.
Nah, love it. I love it from him.
And
Yep.
that shows. Sorry, bro. Go.
Just want to jump in. Reagan, this one's mainly for Scott. Has Carroll learned how to run the ball on the 1 yard line? Is this why he took
I'll die on
Genty?
this hill. That was a great play.
it
Come at
got
me.
you an extra down.
Yeah, got extra down, and no one was expecting it. Anyway, this is a draft and a happy place for me.
No one was expecting it but Bill Belichick.
That's
He
the-
runs that play against any other
If you-
decent
Are you?
coach in the league. And
Sorry,
he scores.
just as a side note, are you taking the piss or do you truly believe that?
I believe, yes, if you do the maths, you
No,
throw the
it's-
ball as a quick release throw, you get 2 extra rushing attempts.
It's like
Or
theoretically.
you give it to the best running back between the tackles, maybe
No,
ever.
But then you can still get the 2 runs.
Yes. So
You got an
theoretically,
extra
the
play out
plan
of it.
was
Yeah, but
we'll-
you
we'll
can't because it got turned over.
No, but
Well, you don't pick that play expecting it to get turned over.
that was just Bill Belichick's brilliance as a coach.
It was the corner.
100% what it was.
I can't remember his name now. He
Malcolm
was at
Butler.
Malcolm Butler.
No. The corner before it was at Seattle. It was the spastic in the Legion of Boone.
I know who you're talking about. Barron.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, big long corner, like
Yeah,
6'4".
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
player. Good
So
player.
he got cut from Seattle that year after being in the Super Bowl, and then went to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Now you did rail the show. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Regan. Love you, buddy.
Yeah. And anyway, so he told Belichick that's the play they're going to use. They practiced it in the offseason, and it was a freak play. So
It was a great play. I said it was
Yeah.
no other coach but Bill Belichick beats that play.
Yes.
The theory was there. The history tells us that it was the wrong move, but theoretically, it was actually very smart
Well, I
coaching. It
think-
just backfired.
I think it's one of
Belichick
those
was-
things that just don't ever think about it. Give it to me.
Sometimes,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, you can say that in hindsight. 2020 is
I would have done it.
perfect.
I said it then.
But if he'd thrown a touchdown because the Patriots sold out on the run and
Yeah.
scored, everyone would have been like, "Wow, why did they throw the ball there? What an awesome move!"
playing 3D chess.
And sometimes you could also say that Wilson just shouldn't have thrown it.
Well, it's a timing thing.
It is. It's a quick.
The receiver didn't
one-step
play
throw.
through the DB. It's
So
I've
much
watched the
went
play
wrong.
a few times. Thanks for ruining everyone's night.
Let's get it back on track with ragging on another
yeah,
team.
this
Gonna go home and punch.
Oh, I am today.
Genty is the perfect fit for the Raiders.
I love it. I love it at the Raiders. Like he's
Raiders
a
had
Raider.
a very good draft.
I think
very
the
good draft.
I think the Raiders they have an identity going into next season now. Now whether they're in a tough division, it's going to be hard. I like Pete Carroll. I like Geno Smith. I really do like Geno Smith. I think
So do I.
I wish him
against
nothing but success, and I hope that Genty helps that. I hope Genty is the guy that we all think he is because
I can't see a world where he doesn't help them win games.
And the Raiders have had so much poor decisions in the first round that it was fine. It was good for them to just go, you know what? This guy's a blue chipper. He's available to us. Let's just
We
take him.
need it's
A
an
need,
urgent
that's right.
need.
Yeah, let's just take him. Let's just swing now.
They got
We'll
two
get
very
O-lineman
good
next year.
tackles as well. So I'm really high on Charles Grant. He's like an absolute mauler. He's a big frame guy. Someone that Seattle.
Oh,
I
William
wanted-
and Mary. Yeah. He's
So he's a guy that I wanted Seattle to target in the middle rounds. So they got the O line sorted, they got the running back sorted, they got the wide receiver. Had a very good draft in theory. So
yes.
nothing but good things. For the
And
Raiders.
understand the draft is all in theory because we do not know
Yeah.
how these guys are
Hey,
going to pan
if you're a
out.
fan of your team, you're never going to be higher than what you are right now. It gets worse from here for 31 other teams.
And I'll say that I'm saying that in because I want to go to the Panthers now, who went at pick 8. They took Ted McMillan, who some people had him as the 7th rated wide receiver. Some people had him as the first or second. He was all over the shop. The reports on this guy, like his leg speed's not phenomenal. He's obviously very big. His comp is Drake London, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans. I think it's unfair to comp anyone to Mike Evans because the chance of them being like him is so
just from a physical.
Okay, he's not going to have Mike Evans' production, but it's that body type.
the body
that's
type.
that's what we're saying, Mike Evans-esque.
Yes. And I think the Panthers taking him the 8th overall, I think they got it wrong. I think they reached a little bit for a guy. I think they wanted a receiver. They're disappointed in how Leggett went last year, and that's reported by them. They didn't think he developed as well as they thought he
I
would.
still think I like Leggett. I think
He can develop too. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
all you don't throw the toys out of the cot and say he's no good.
Yeah,
But they're disappointed with how he developed last season.
Yeah.
So they in their mind, we're taking a receiver at 8. We like McMillan the most. We're just taking him. And I don't love that philosophy going into a draft.
can I push back on this a little
Mhm.
bit? So,
You can push back on me anytime, big boy.
so
Maybe you push back
I have
on
a
him.
take
Yeah.
with specifically what they did and then why they couldn't do it another way. So, Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M's one of these edges. I love him. He's so
Yeah,
good.
you spoke about him. Yeah,
He's genetic freak. He's a big guy, big arms, pass rusher. But the Texas A&M philosophy with defense is their ends don't just tee off on quarterbacks. They set a hard edge. So his sack numbers are a little bit low. But if you look at the measurables, he's right up there like 97th, 96th percentile. So my point is, I think in 3 years' time, when we look back at this draft, that Nick Scorton might be a top 7 or 8 player coming out of the draft.
sure.
But if they had picked him in the second round, there's no receivers there.
Yeah, okay.
So they go, there's a lot of depth in this draft at edge and D tackle and in holes that we need to fill. But
But
the receivers aren't going to
Not
be
so
there.
much a receiver. Yeah,
And McMillan's probably the only guy that could turn into a 1. I think there's a lot of 2s.
Yeah, that's fair.
So McMillan's the only guy that could be a 2 that turns into a 1. So I don't mind them taking the swing, and they've
well,
filled.
Panthers obviously think he's going to be a 1. Otherwise, I wouldn't take him at 8.
Yes, obviously. Yeah. So I just think that, we might look back at these 2 picks and right off the bat, I think that they got it wrong, but I can see where they're coming from. And
I think the
if we-
value was wrong. I don't hate on the
Yes.
player. His tape's outstanding. He has
Yes,
so
yeah.
much good tape.
Yeah. If
But
they're
the
picking
value's
17,
yes, there's no. From all reports, the Cowboys had him like on their sheet at 12,
Sure,
taking
yeah.
it. They're like, he's going to be here. We're
But
ready
then
to go. As
if
soon as it comes.
Genty's off the board, who's moving up? Because the Bears, I feel like, are the only team that's going to move up. They get
for Genty,
Yes.
And then when he was gone, it was like, I think a lot of teams, once Genty went, were like, well, we're not
So
going
no one's trading. So if there's no market there to trade, you have to get that guy.
No, and we said in the when we did our what's the plan?
Yep.
The one thing I said was they need to do anything they can to help Bryce Young.
Yep.
They took the first receiver in the draft,
The best receiver. Yeah.
the best receiver in their mind, and in a lot of people's mind, he's very polarizing.
Yep.
But they took a guy that's going to help Bryce Young.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. A big red zone tall receiver that you can be like, fuck it, McMillan's down there somewhere.
I really like McMillan. I actually really like him. The speed's the only thing, but like if you tick 3 out of the 4 boxes for a receiver,
Big
really
unit.
good hands, big guy, runs every route. He sits in coverage. He sits in zones. He does all the things.
193 centimeters and 100 kilos.
Yeah.
Like
Big
that's
man.
a big human being.
And he ran like a 4.6 or something. He's not slow. Like,
Yeah, no, none of these guys are slow.
yeah, but you
None
know,
of these
you know
guys
what I
are
mean? Like the
They're
knock on him.
slow.
It's not like he ran a 5'1".
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's a good athlete.
I
So-
think it was a 4.6 or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think
it was
it
a
was four-
4.5.
I think it was like high fives, like 4'5",
yeah,
9.
4.56 or 4.58 or something. Like, come on, we're talking about one step.
Yeah,
And if you're a smart and a good route runner, like there's so many receivers now that are not blazing speed, but they run a crisp route and you can create separations in a different way.
100%.
So, yeah, circle back. I'm still really high on the Panthers. I think they're going to win the division as a smoky.
Ooh.
And
Actually, the more I think about it, the more I agree.
4.48 to a 4.57 was his 40 yard.
4.5, that's not slow.
it was a tenth of a second
That's-
faster than what I thought. I'm
At
still backing him on-
193 and 100 kilos, that's not slow.
That's moving, bro.
That's moving fast. All right, let's get to the next one.
This is going to be a long show.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to be a long show, and we're all for it because the draft is one of the best days of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
Amen.
The next one was Chicago at 10. They took Colston Loveland.
Loveland.
Also
Not-
known as.
Colston,
Not
and
Cotton.
only known as Colston.
Not Cotton.
No matter what Google Docs corrects it to, he is Colston Loveland. Which again, another bit of a poll. I thought they were going to go Warren. I truly thought that.
Yeah.
The more I've seen some coverage of it and some talk about it was that Komet, who I think's he's a second tier tight end, but he's a good tight end. He's not a bad
But he's
player.
a good blocking
He's
tight
a good
end.
blocking tight end. So
Yeah.
he fits more into that Warren role.
Yes.
They didn't want to draft two guys to do the same thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
then Komet's useless to them.
yes.
They went with Loveland, who can stretch the field. He can play some receiver. You can split him out wide. You can do some different things with him.
Yep.
He's not your genuine Y tight end.
No. Yes, that's right. Yeah, and he can block off the slot.
And his comp is Sam Laporta. And
Pretty
who
good.
did Sam Laporta have a great success with at his
Ben
OC?
Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Johnson,
So I think Ben Johnson's gone, well, we've got Komet. He can do the blocking. He can do the dirty work. He can catch the short catches.
Yep.
We've got DJ Moore. We've got Adunze.
Luther Burden.
No,
Oh.
Luther. Didn't Burden go to...
The Bears.
No, Luther Burden was a second round pick.
Yeah.
They then picked up Burden later, who was, I feel, a steal.
Oh,
Was that a steal at seventh pick in
absolutely.
the second round? Like,
Absolutely. That's not up there with Nick Amenwari, but it's up there.
it's up. Well, Scotty, put your
Keep it in.
pants on. We're not
Keep it
talking
in.
about Hawaii yet.
No,
But
I'm really high on Luther Burden. I think one down year hurt him dramatically, but if you look at the course of the work, the guy's a freak.
yes,
He is a vertical threat. They just opted to use him in the screen game and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And I think they're probably the Bears have the most potent offense.
well,
You got Loveland, DJ Moore, you got
Adunze.
Doomsday, who is I'm still very high on.
I think he'll come on as
Yeah, he had a
Burden.
good rookie year without being amazing. He
Yeah.
wasn't bad at all.
and I think they drafted a running back.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They
no,
did
yeah.
7th round
Yeah.
Manangi
Yeah.
from Rutgers.
Yeah.
But like they've got Swift. Like
Yeah.
Swift is like we've said before. Swift is serviceable.
Yep.
He's fine. You can go into a season with Swift as your running back and feel okay about it.
Yep.
Especially
He's
after
a-
they fixed up that O line as well.
Yeah, and
if
that's
Swift's
they
the worst player
improved
on your offense, you're doing good.
And I think what Ben Johnson's done is he's gone. I hope he's gone to Keller Williams before the draft and said, "Kid, I got you.
Mm.
I'm getting the players that can run my system, bringing in guys like Jonah Jackson that have done his stuff before.
Yep.
A smart center in Dalton, like
Yes. Yep.
bringing a veteran guy like Tooney over. He
Yep.
said the O line is going to be fine because we've got two veterans at guard, a veteran now at center, and a very smart center,
Mm.
and then two young tackles that have a lot of talent.
I also really like Ozzy Trapolo as well. Gave up 2
Great
sacks in his college career.
Jeez, he's
2 sacks.
big,
He's a big boy.
203 centimeters and 100.
Is it? Yeah. So pad level's a little bit of an issue.
Out of
of him.
Boston College, who Boston College are out there. They're
They're brawling.
punching.
Yeah.
Like,
But he gets off the ball and he is mauling people. So he's angry. He's just another guy. Like, we're not 100% sold on who's the tackle you
Brandon Jones, left
Jones.
tackle. Yeah.
So we're not, if you're not 100%.
Braxton Jones. sorry,
Braxton,
my bad.
yeah. This guy can take his spot. And
Yeah.
I think he can be quite good. So their first 3 picks, honestly, I think the Bears may have had the best draft.
And I feel like this is the ultimate. We talked about this before we started recording, that GMs and head coaches need to be in each other's pockets when how they're operating.
What
This
is it,
fe-
George?
Symbiotic.
Symbiotic. This feels like Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson are living in each other's minds.
Well,
It's
as they
like,
should be.
hey, this
They
absolutely.
should be
But,
working as a team.
when-
They should
when
be working
both
as a
of you are
team.
when
jobs-
shit goes wrong, they turn on each
Yeah,
other.
they do the Spider-Man meme.
So right
Get
now,
everyone-
yes, but they're actually calling that the Tyler Cube meme now.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
We'll
It's
get to that.
fantastic.
But
We'll get to
this is
that.
the team that Ben Johnson's come in and gone, Ryan, this is what you need to do. This is how we're going to do it. And
This is how we're
Ryan's
gonna
gone,
You want me?
You're our
This is
coach.
what I want.
I obviously want you to be our coach.
Yep.
What are we doing? How are we doing
Yep.
it? Let's go. And I said the only problem is they just play in such a tough division.
Mm.
It's like they could be better next year and still be fourth.
Bro,
in the
there's a
division.
world where they win 10 games and still finish last in that division.
Like it's outrageous.
Like that could happen.
yes, it really could.
Good. I don't think Minnesota.
I think if
Yeah.
you win 10 games in the NFC, you're probably a 7 seed, no matter what.
Well, Seattle didn't make it as a 10-win last year.
Yeah, but we can all blame Trey McBride for that.
Fuck it. You want to fire me up?
You started that.
Don't bring up the Super Bowl. Bring
I
up
think,
Trey
I think it's pretty
McBride.
clear you're
Fuck
already
Trey
fired up,
McBride.
bro.
Because
I am fired up.
I think Brock wants to come $100 on a bet as well. It was bad for everyone.
It lost 300. Fuck him.
But me, who had a 14
Should've
in
cashed
his
out.
gums and was like, "I'm
Yeah.
flying, boys."
Ran
let's
out of
roll."
things that day as well. Shit was just going. It was a bad day.
Now let's talk about the other tight end, Warren, who the Colts have had a lot of bad luck in their draft. From
Yes.
all reports, they wanted Bowers more than anyone last
And they
year.
couldn't find a trade partner.
They couldn't
Yep.
trade up. They
Yep.
couldn't
Yeah.
get up, and,
And
they
then 2
didn't
picks
get him.
before him. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that there's people being annoyed. Actually, Daniel Jeremiah today, I was listening to a podcast with him and he was like, God, it pisses me off that Warren just fell to the Colts at 14. But then the other guy on the podcast with him was like, yeah, but they got screwed last year because Brock Bowers. And he was like, you're right. It all evens out
Yeah.
in the wash. But this feels like a Colt guy. They don't have a genuine Y tight end.
No.
They've got some quarterback controversy with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. We've talked about a lot. What's the best friend for a young
Safety
quarterback?
net.
You want a tough tight end. They've got a good running game, a great running back, a good offensive line. This
Good
dude is
receivers.
going to
I still
No,
rate their receivers.
Pittman, Pierce,
Downs is a gun.
Downs,
Yep.
and they've got McMillan, who they took last year, who
Yep.
didn't have a great rookie year, but again, high pedigree guy that can take the top off. They've got some pieces. They're basically saying that, hey, we've put some pieces around for Steichen.
One of you
Yeah.
two
Let's
spastic
run it.
quarterbacks figure it out.
Yeah.
Drive us
Just-
into the
well,
playoffs.
Just be good.
Clearly, that's what they've done. They just said, here's enough talent. Now, Richardson, if you're no good, well, now it's on you.
Yeah,
You
and
clearly
then,
got the
and then you know what? I think Steichen, what he's done with this is he's actually
Bought
I
himself
think-
a bit of time.
whether he's bought himself some time with the Colts or he's bought himself another job
That's what I was
somewhere
going to
else.
say. He's insulated
'Cause-
himself for the rest
he
of the
can,
league.
he can walk out and go, what did you want me to do? We
Yeah.
took Richardson thinking he was going to be good. I was for it at the time. He sucked. They fired me. They fired me because Richardson sucked. I did everything I could to work around him. I think he's he's bought himself some time
Hmm.
that they can say, because I think Daniel Jones could play in this offense, need be. If the
I don't
Richardson
think
wheels
Daniel
fall
Jones
off,
playing GV.
no, that's
Nah,
disgusting
come on,
from
stop
you.
that.
Daniel Jones.
I'm throwing out hot takes.
Dominate.
I'll take him. I'll take him at this point.
Oh, here we go.
Daniel,
Brock couldn't even take him.
No, I think you
Play-
meant he'd
play.
take him and he'll come play for us.
Oh, you take him in so he's got somewhere to stay?
Come.
You reckon he's
Yeah,
short on cash
yeah,
here?
come,
No,
come.
He's staying with Reese.
Yeah, of course.
Decided.
Nah, Billy, the deck's finished now.
Hey, go back to your point.
Ah.
If there's wow.
I need a minute.
There's something else. Popped up.
Knives in the chat.
All right.
If your point's valid,
Yeah.
if Steichen can't get Daniel Jones to play at least half decent, then nobody can. I truly believe that.
Or Richardson.
Yeah, okay, but I've already said.
Yeah,
my
you
piece
already
on
offered
Richardson.
Richardson. That's fine. Then that's fair.
Like I said
Um,
pre-draft, I think this guy might be the top 2 to 3 player in the draft.
I was disappointed when the Cowboys didn't take him. And we'll talk about the Cowboys picking him out. I liked what the Cowboys did,
Yeah.
but I was also like, shit, that would have been fun. Him and Jake Ferguson, just two dogs going at it. It would have been great.
He can run the ball. He's a vertical threat. He catches across the middle.
So
He's
talented.
the perfect tight end in today's football. Does everything. Does it at a very high level.
Like his pro comp is Greg Olsen.
What a
which
pro comp.
People forget how fucking
He
good
was
I would say he's a better blocker than Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen was more
He's
of
a better rapper.
no. Greg Olsen is
Nah.
the rap god.
First fifth floor crew was just outstanding.
If anyone doesn't know the rap song, just look up the Miami rap song. With
No, fifth floor crew Miami song.
Yeah.
It's just Greg
It's-
Olsen's verse is
It's definitely an
outstanding.
experience. Put it that way.
I don't know if it's a good experience, but
It's just
it
an
is an experience.
I don't know if it's a parody, but it makes you chuckle.
That's what everyone would, because that was like, we didn't have parodies back then.
No.
Now people would listen to that and be like, oh, they're taking the piss. No,
No,
they were not taking the piss. They were
too long-
100% genuine.
Too long ago to be taking the
It's
I think
actually aged
based on-
better.
Yeah. I think it's based on true events.
Yeah. Yes, I won't mention what they said, but we talked about like there's blockers that do it because they have to.
Yep.
And there's blockers that are willing. Warren is
Wants
willing.
to.
What? So yeah, he's willing. He wants to do like. I imagine when he lines up, he's like, I want to block the shit out of this dude. And again, I've said it before. I watched Jason Witten for a lot of years, and I didn't watch him catching all the first downs and all the
Yeah.
receptions. I loved watching him when he would just manhandle a defensive end on his own, and be like, "Hey, Tyron, I got this dude.
Take this one off.
You just you down block the 3. I got this dude.
Yeah.
Like you can't. They don't come along. Genuine why. And when I say a why in
Play
your
line.
offense is a tight end that plays on the line.
Yep.
There are H's who play off the line.
Mm-hmm.
There are fullbacks. There are wings. A Y is a guy that's on the line of scrimmage, hand in the dirt. That's a tight end.
Mhm.
They don't come around very often. George Kittle's the best example of it in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
But there is just like Jake Ferguson's a good example of it.
Yep.
He's not the elite athleticism that Warren is, but
Or Kittle. Kittle's,
Kittle's
Kittle's
a stud.
off the charts athletic.
Oh, he's a stud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kittle's, like I said, I have my personal disagreements with Kittle because I think he's a bit of a fucking twat.
Oh no, he's
But
a
he's
fucking
an
twat. Don't worry about that.
outstanding
He's a
football
fucking
player.
cunt, though.
I will never badmouth him as a football player. Did you just drop C-bombs?
No, not the one you think.
Did you say he's a cuck?
No, worse. No. Anyway, let's keep going.
I said he's-
We're
I
live.
said
We're
he's a
live,
cunt.
boys.
Oh, okay, my bad. Facebook have just demonetized us before monetizing us.
I think I copped that one.
Yeah, you might have ruined it. All right, now let's get to. I've kind of packaged this together
Ooh.
now. You notice we skipped the 4th overall pick and a
Yeah,
couple of
yeah,
other
yeah,
top
yep,
10 picks.
yep.
Teams going meat and taters in the first round.
Yep.
Because I respect the shit out of teams that do this, and I want to start with the respect to the New England Patriots because
They got
are constantly trading back and taking some crap Division 2 player like Cole Strange, who's ended up being an
He's
okay
pretty
pro.
good. Yeah.
He's a decent pro, but
Yeah.
he's he still shouldn't have been drafted in the first round.
No.
They go, you know what? There's no Carter. There's no Hunter. We're taking Will Campbell. This guy's a dog. His onstage presence was unreal.
Oh,
When he said he will literally die
with
to
tears in his
keep
eyes.
Drake May
bro,
protected.
that
Mate, sign me up.
that was the first time I chubbed up over the draft.
Jeez, you didn't chub up when Emma
He chubbed up and he's
finished.
and he's stayed chubb since.
But like Will Campbell, he's the best offensive lineman in the draft. Whether you love him as a left tackle, there are
Or slot
reports
him
that
into the guard.
there are reports that he's going to be a really good quality left tackle or an all pro guard.
Yeah.
That's versatility. I think they nailed that pick.
Yep.
And unless Carter or Hunter fell to them and then they took him over them,
Yep.
they absolutely nailed it. They have a young quarterback that had a great rookie season who they didn't trade back last year. They just took him at 3.
Which
said,
they should have.
like
I
Drake.
was so high on him.
Agreed. They should have taken him. And now from the first season, they absolutely should have
Yeah.
taken him.
Yeah.
Now they've done the same and gone, well, now we've got our quarterback.
They got a
Let's draft some guys that can support him.
I think they got I can't remember where Higgins went, but they got a really good receiver in the second round as well.
No, that wasn't he. It was Koff. His tape was him burning Travis Hunter like 3 times when they played him.
Oof.
It was
Cop
it was
that.
pretty good. And Travis Hunter's I'm not saying that like Travis Hunter sucks. I'm
Yeah.
saying that it's like how good he was in those plays. But I loved what the Patriots did. We then get to the next offensive lineman that went off the board.
Membu.
It's very rare that teams take genuine right tackles.
Yes.
Membu was a right tackle for his entire college. He wasn't a left tackle that can play right.
Yep.
He is a right tackle in the NFL. But they took, I think it's Fanu last year.
Yeah, who was their left tackle?
who came on really well at the
Yep.
end of the
Yeah.
season at left tackle.
Yep.
I love that they just went, you know what? Fashanu.
Yeah.
Fashanu. I love that they just went, you know what? This guy's a right tackle. He's an athletic freak.
Yes.
Absolute athlete member. Like, he's above the charts for every measurable you ever want. And the fact that they can just go, you know what? There's our bookends.
Yeah.
There's our bookend
Yep.
tackles. Great start. They've got the wide receivers. They've got the running back in Brees Hall, who I really like.
Yep.
They did the right thing. I
They're
think.
protecting Fields. Let's
Yes.
see what we have in Fields.
Is anyone excited for Fields?
I am.
I'm
I'm still on Team Fields.
I'm excited. For
I'm not excited like, oh, he's the best player in the world. I'm excited like, what are we going to see this year?
I'm just
He's
excited.
a genuine starter. There's
Give
no
him a
one
shot.
taking his. Yes, thank you, Brocky. Absolutely nailed it without the drop.
He's
But
had,
he is. Give the kid a shot.
I'll just play devil's advocate. He's had 2 shots at 2 different franchises.
But he was great. The
Okay, the Bears was an
Bears
absolute
you can-
dumpster fire.
and also when the Bears had the ability
The
to
Jets
get,
aren't much better though,
but
to be fair.
that's fair. But the Bears had the ability to get Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
Like
I
it
don't
wasn't.
disagree with the
It
move.
wasn't. We hate Justin Fields. We
just
we
want
love Caleb.
And you got to
Williams.
remember, it wasn't
Like,
on their pick. They were picking 10. It was on Carolina's pick.
Yeah. So that
But
the
I'm not-
opportunity just came
I'm
up.
not hating them dropping.
No, I'm just saying, but like they
Williams.
weren't a bad team that they were
No,
like.
but the jury's out on Fields. Like
the jury's definitely.
I also think that
That's all I'm
in
saying.
hindsight now, Pittsburgh probably wronged him last year.
Well, I
They
think
should have
they-
just let him play.
They wanted him back. Oh, you're talking about during the season.
Yeah, during the season, they should have just let like Wilson. Yeah, he won a few games, but he didn't win them off his own bat.
Mm.
Like,
Definitely
and they-
protected his
and they
stats
did-
as the year went
yeah,
on.
and
He
they
came
did
out all right.
nothing. They didn't put him in packages. They didn't
Yeah.
really do it. Like, I'm excited to see him be. You're the starter, and I'm hoping that Aaron Glenn. And I don't know who the OC is there, but whoever they can just build an
I
offense
think they got
around
the
his
O-lineman
talents. They get it from
coach
the
Lions.
from the line. So
yeah.
you know there's going to
really
be
good.
some read option. You know there's going to be some funky stuff, and I hope there is.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see Fields, and I love this pick from the Jets. I think Membu, again, if he ends up not being good, no one's going to sit there and go, well, the Jets are morons. It's almost like unlucky. It's like when they drafted Mekhi Becton. His first season in the NFL was so good.
Yeah.
So good. Like, I remember saying that he's better than Andrew Thomas, the tackle from the Bucks that I always forget the name of.
Tristan
Wirfs.
Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who the fourth one was. I was like, oh, he's the best. And then he just got injured and couldn't stay on the park. Like, it sucked. The offensive coordinator is Tanner Engstrand.
Oh, that's not who I was thinking of.
No, I think, didn't the Bears offer the Lions OC and then he went back as the O-line coach was going
I know
to go?
Seattle really wanted him as well. I think
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think he stayed at
I think he
Detroit.
stayed at Detroit.
Remember,
yeah.
great pick.
Yeah, remember, great pick. The next one was Calvin Banks for the Saints. They didn't get sucked into the Shador hype. They didn't get sucked
Hallelujah.
into any
Good.
other quarterback hype. They've got so many holes on their roster. They took what they thought was the best offensive lineman in the draft because
Yep.
when you're rebuilding a team, we all agree that you start from the inside out.
Amen.
And I guess Kellen Moore, which again, this shows me the character arc of Kellen Moore. I think 2 years ago, if he was a head coach, maybe 3 years ago, when the hype around him being a head coach was strong and he didn't take any
He's
jobs,
drafting.
he would have come in and taken a receiver or something here, or a quarterback or something like that. I think being in Philly, he's kind of realized, well, we're dominant because of how good our offensive line and defensive line is. So let's start at that spot. Let's build from that
And
spot.
judging by this draft, it's clear that a lot of teams are following that
100%.
template.
That's the
Well, it's a draft for it. The
Yeah,
draft was
100%.
very strong in guards, tackles, and defensive tackles.
B
and
tackles,
ends.
yeah.
and Calvin Banks, one of the best videos of him when he got drafted was his newborn baby vomiting everywhere as he
Yeah.
got drafted. that just made me laugh. That was
That kid copped
outstanding.
a beating,
Yeah.
and not for the first time.
Oh,
Jesus
Brocky. And then
then-
the next one was the next lineman off the board was the Dallas Cowboys, who they just love guys named Tyler.
Mm.
And in fairness to them, they've got Tyler Smith, who's an all-pro guard for 2 years in his first 2 years in the NFL.
Tyler Guyton, a good
Tyler
young tackle.
Guyton,
Guyton's
who
good, yeah.
who had
Was he
I
a
have
third Pro Bowl or something?
no, I don't think he made Pro Bowl, but he was very good as a rookie.
Yeah.
Like left tackle is so hard to play. Like
Yeah.
it's so tough. And
Especially
I
as a rookie.
and he's a
Very
big
hard.
dude, a lot of faith. And then they've gone and said, well, you know what? We lost Zach Martin in the offseason. Our strength for the past 15 years has been our offensive line and what we do running the ball and then the play action off that.
Reinvest.
Let's just reinvest in this guy. They clearly wanted McMillan. McMillan wasn't there. Hindsight, I still think that if I could pick from McMillan or Booker, I would have wanted Booker more. Like,
Yep. I like Booker.
196, 145 kilos. Like,
Dude's
this
a
is a
mauler.
huge- and played at Bama, who play against the best teams every week. So
And
it's
the
not like
good
he's
thing-
afraid of
he's-
competition.
a genuine football player. Like, I know there was some things saying, oh, he can't fit the zone, can't do this, can't do that. When you're a genuine footballer and your tape backs it up, it doesn't matter what scheme you're at. Some of these guys, it just doesn't matter what scheme.
No.
He's slightly less agile than the most agile person coming out of the draft.
Yeah, so he
Cool.
can't. So he can't play tackle. He's a guard.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's
Cool.
what-
He's slightly less agile than the best. He's still pretty damn agile.
and the people can say, "Oh, the Cowboys were boring."
Who said that?
I don't. A lot of draft people said, "Oh,
The,
why
the
why
Cowboy
aren't they
Nuffy
swinging?"
pages that
Like,
he's all in.
my thing is, right, if I'm going to get stuck into the Cowboys about anything, and we all know as a Cowboys fan, I'm very quick to get stuck into mistakes. The one thing I'm not going to attack them for is drafting offensive linemen in the first round.
Mm.
And there's receipts. There's Travis Frederick, Tyrone Smith,
Yep.
Zach Martin, Tyler Smith, Tyler Guyton.
Yep.
That's 5 in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the Cowboys
Everyone
always draft
laughed.
well.
Everyone laughed when they took Zach Martin.
They almost always.
The rest of the draft
well.
is
So it's all good.
phenomenal too.
It was a very good
quietly.
draft from the
The
Cowboys.
Cowboys had a
you
very,
want-
very good
Do you want to do
draft.
that now while we're on them?
Oh, yeah, mate, as well. Yeah. So,
the second round, they took DeMarcus Lawrence 2.0.
yeah, my guy,
Literally-
Ezraku,
Yeah.
who, as soon as that pick came in, I'm like, you've got one. He is the
He-
top 20 on every big board inside the top 20.
I literally was watching his tape after they drafted him going, that's DeMarcus Lawrence.
Remember how we were talking about him day one? And I was like, he's like, how he's just so bendy. His knee
Yeah.
flexation, his hip flexation. He runs at full tilt. Like,
Scotty loves some knee bend, bro.
Ooh.
bro, if you want to talk about football, let's get
Bend your
technical on this
fucking
shit.
knees.
Bend your fucking knees, plugger.
No, but
Um,
like he runs at
That's a
full
niche sport.
tilt, like fully parallel to the ground.
Yeah,
and
he's
as a D end,
great
he's
athlete.
phenomenal. I love it.
And was rated Pro Football Focus because they now do college stuff.
Yes.
People don't know that.
Yep.
He was rated in the above 85 in all 3 seasons as a run defender as well.
Yes, yeah,
and then above 80 as a
Willing.
pass rusher every. Like, this is a
Yeah.
dude that, again, football player.
yes,
Football player. And then you loved the corner. I didn't know much about the corner in the third round, I'll be honest, but you quite
yeah,
liked it.
yeah. In the what you would do?
Is it
series.
Revel?
Yeah, Revel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had him as a late first rounder. Like, his tape's that good. He's got a fantastic story. He's a kid that was working at Walmart or Amazon or something like that.
Yeah.
Saw a flyer and then goes down to Eastern Carolina. Halfway through the workout, like, don't worry about it. You're already on the team.
It's like
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
You're in, kid.
Dominates college, not last year, the year before. And then I think he did his ACL
Yeah, he
in
did.
week two,
He did,
two or three or something. He was rated the best corner
Yeah.
already. So, like,
And this is what all the 3 things we've just described about these 3 players. And this is why I like what the Cowboys did. The one thing we all said was
footballer.
footballer,
Yep.
tough, physical.
And high
It's what
character.
the
All of them are
Cowboys have
high character
lacked.
guys.
Yeah, it's what they've lacked the last couple of seasons.
Yep.
And said, I'll get stuck into the Cowboys for a ton of things. We can do a full podcast on me getting stuck into the Cowboys. Don't worry.
Oh, we got time.
I hate
There's-
a lot of what they do. But the way they draft is something I
Very
want to
good
criticize
drafters.
them for. They do a
I-
great job of it.
I think the last 5 years been very good drafters. Before then, it was very hit and miss. But
Yeah.
Jerry Smith's son, Steve Smith.
Stephen Jones.
Stephen Jones, sorry.
Stephen
Steve.
Jones. Yeah. Steve
has-
Smith's the cricketer.
yeah,
Or the wide receiver.
Yeah, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Both.
Yeah, he's done an absolutely fantastic job in the last 5 years. So
Yeah.
can't knock it. And Jaden Blue is just an absolute
Oh.
speedster out of Texas.
I remember watching him as everyone knows, I don't watch a ton of college football, but I remember watching him in the playoff games and being like, who the
yeah,
fuck's this dude?
dude is just
Yeah.
lightning.
And they've got Sanders and they've got Williams, which is like they're a flyer. They're professional running backs. They're going to run between the tackles. Blue's going to be their hit.
Home run. Yep. He's just a smaller guy that any touch could be a home
It
run.
reminds me when they drafted Pollard. Pollard was
Yeah.
very similar.
Yep.
Home run hitter.
Yep.
Oh, he can't run through the tackles that well, but that's okay. We'll let him hit home runs, then we'll develop.
Hey, you know who makes really big holes? Really good O line.
Yep.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter if you don't take punishment, if you're not getting hit.
I just wish that I wish they could just take this symbiotic relationship with O-line, running backs, all this sort of. There's also reports they're going to sign either Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper to a 1-year deal.
Yep.
because they just need
Get that
veteran help at
too,
receiver.
yeah.
But again, they've got.
I'm a little bit surprised they didn't go after a receiver, but
Yeah, they
just
did
picked the
not
best-
take one at all.
Yeah,
But I guess that they back Ferguson. CD Lamb's one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yep.
They're just going to back that we can put some jigsaw pieces in there to help with those guys.
Veteran help, like you said.
CD Lamb's so good. We'll just put in a few guys around, like what they did with Cooks. We'll throw a Cooks guy in there, and
Yep.
he'll be fine.
Yep.
Like, anyway, let's get off the Cowboys because I'm going to get a stiffy. Let's go.
I have a stiffy.
Let's go to the Seattle Seahawks, and we talk about draft darlings.
Yeah, overhyped a little bit.
Gray Zabel,
Yeah.
out of North Dakota State. This guy wasn't on teams' draft boards, or if he was very late.
He was better third rounder. They had him, and then
the Senior Bowl.
probably the best player out of the Senior Bowl.
He came in and just kicked the shit out of every single dude in front of him like a man on a mission. I didn't hear about this guy until the Senior Bowl. I'd never heard of him.
Yep.
And then when they saw, this dude went from being 4th, 5th round, maybe undrafted, depending on the team.
No. He was
to a
definitely going
first-round
third,
pick.
4th. Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of stuff on him until the Senior Bowl. And the
Yeah.
Senior Bowl happened, and every team were like, he's a first rounder.
Yeah.
He's 100% a first rounder. And if he gets to us, we will take him.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's just, I love those stories.
Yeah, dude's built like a absolute freight train too. He's just got the thickest legs, and he
And he's an
runs.
asshole.
Oh, he's an asshole.
Mm.
He's a country boy. He's country strong. You see it on the film.
I watched a little bit of his highlights. You know, he reminds, obviously he's a homer pick, but he reminds me a lot of like Landon Dickerson.
Oh,
Just a
I
big,
knew you were
Oh,
going to
yeah.
say Dickerson.
Yeah, yeah,
He's 100% like
He
that.
is.
strong,
Yeah.
just mauler. He just wants to hurt people, man. I
Yeah.
love it.
You
I love
say
it.
you say that dudes can be built from like the ground up.
Yep.
Him and Landon Dixon, they're built from the ankles
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
They can't wear high tops.
No,
That's how
Yeah.
thick they are.
you just see like the film. He hunts. If there's someone slightly smaller than him, and it's his assignment, he will throw them in the
Mm.
grandstand.
Yeah.
It's like the Blind Side, the Hollywood,
Yeah.
throws him in the grandstand. This guy does it for fun. Like,
I was just taking him to the bus.
yeah. So couldn't be
Michael
more rats.
Orr, like an oar in a boat.
And what else would you want from a starting guard? That's exactly
and,
what you want.
and also fits a significant team need.
Mm.
And also not just and scheme now because we're running a zone. He's incredibly agile, like the best tested guard.
Yeah.
For all measurables, for speed, for all of that. So,
I'm not going to lie. If the Cowboys took him at 12, I would have been wrapped too.
oh,
And
absolutely.
then you probably take Booker.
yeah, we're same. Yeah.
We're all feeling good.
Yeah.
Fair.
We'll shoot through a couple more alignment. Vikings took Donovan Jackson at 24.
I like it.
The Vikings know what they're doing.
Yep.
They bought in Fries. They bought in Kelly, the center.
Yes.
The only spot that was kind of up for grabs in that line was left guard.
Yep.
And they took he's probably the third best guard after
Yep.
the other two, but they were like, this is what we're doing. We're rebuilding. We've got a young quarterback. We're building around him.
Yep.
I can't. I have to respect that sort of team building.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a mauler as well. He's an absolute dog. I had a close eye on a lot of the guards because I don't know if you've seen Seattle play, but they
They struggle.
they didn't have an eye on any guards. So yeah, no, he's an absolute beast. They're going to be very happy with him. He's an absolute dog.
Perfect pick if you've got a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Commanders went with Josh Connolly at 29. This one caught a bit more eyes.
Bit reachy.
Apparently, it was a
for
bit of
me.
a reach.
Yeah. Bit
Again,
reachy.
it's a position. It's obviously a desperate position need for them, offensive line with a young quarterback. So I'm not going to hate on it as a philosophical pick, a theoretical pick,
I would have.
but it felt like like he was.
Where do you think he should have gone, Scott?
Oh, I don't know where he could. I don't know. I think from everything I
Only
saw,
because you said he was a bit reachy. Like that's what I'm saying.
I think a lot of people had him second, third round. I would have liked them to address other needs with this pick because they've got so many holes. I don't really love the roster. I would have liked him to get one of the edges that fell. I would have liked him to get like Campbell was still on there, which we'll touch on shortly.
Mhm.
Everything the
true.
Commanders are doing,
Is wrong.
they feel like they're Kansas City.
I feel like they're better than what they are.
I feel like they're a little bit, like a couple of years ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
Like they've got Jaden Daniels. They're like, oh, cool. We're an NFC Championship game team. We're going to be that every year. Let's just add pieces that add to that now. And
Yeah.
this felt reachy. That's all.
It did. Yeah.
And it felt more reachy when 2 picks later or 3 picks later, KC took Josh Simmons,
Who's
who
a gun?
much more superior player.
Yeah,
and
coming off
only-
an ACL though,
Yes,
so
injured.
I can see if that was the deciding factor. But I just felt like you could have got this caliber guard a little bit later in the draft. I feel like the you wouldn't have lost much in the pick there you could have picked a better player
Sure.
Well, for the Washington or the Chiefs?
for the Washington. Oh, Chiefs.
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Chiefs
Get
had
it out of the park.
They had to take
Get
a
it out of the
tackle.
park.
They had to.
Yep.
There was no two ways about it. They had to take a offensive tackle because they're so bad at offensive tackle.
Yep, and they got
They
the best
had no
run in the
choice.
draft. I think they got the best run in the draft. He's just coming off an ACL. That's
Potentially,
why he dropped. Yep.
The next one was we'll get away from the offensive line now. We'll shoot back to the 49ers at number 11. Obviously, a big team. They went a little bit away. They took Michael Williams at edge.
Yep.
I think everyone thought they were going to take the
Carter.
guy Atlanta took.
Yep.
Which I've forgotten his
Not
name now.
Carter.
Walker, Jalen Walker,
yeah.
who kind of had a mini fall. They went with a bigger, he's not really a speed rusher. He's more of a power guy.
Yeah, he's definitely a power pass rush guy. I think he fits the team perfect. I like the pick. For
Yes,
them.
I do too. I like it for them.
Yeah, I think they're picked for what they run and what they need.
And their
Um,
identity's defense, I feel like the 49ers.
And they've gone back to it. You can
Yeah.
definitely see with the draft picks they had this year, they've gone back to their roots and they've just gone D. Let's just pump this defense up with talent and we'll find a spot for
Sounds
him
like
to play.
JA on a Saturday night.
Pump of talent. Amen.
No, pumping talent.
You don't need to pump talent when you got the best talent at home. That's my motto.
Hey-o.
I think
She's
that's
not
what we're
watching.
referring to.
She might be. We don't know. Hey, always play safe by the water, Brock. If kids alive, play the 5.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a real niche one.
That's
too.
a niche pull, that one.
And then teams get hungry for defensive tackles. I'm going to read out the first round, guys. The Dolphins took Kenneth Grant at 13, D tackle. Cardinals took Walter Nolan at 16.
Both of them, I like both of them.
Yeah, they're big dudes, obviously big dudes. I'll say we'll go back to the Steelers, but Detroit took Tyleik Williams at 28,
Yep.
which I loved. I feel like Dan Campbell just went, I don't care. Give me the biggest, baddest, meanest interior defensive lineman that's available. And they went, Williams.
Yeah.
He's like, done. I
Do you
don't
love
care about
football?
his name.
Yes. Do you love hurting people? Yes.
You're in.
You're in.
Son of a bitch, you're in.
Yeah.
And then what I want to highlight, and I want to highlight this for a couple of reasons. Steelers overlook quarterback, which I know, and I want to hear from some Steelers fans. I know Paul Egan, one of the long-time listeners, said
Junior.
that he didn't hate it. He didn't hate the pick from the tackle, but they took Derek Harmon at 21. And one thing I want to highlight, this is just a horrible but nice story.
It is a really good draft story when other circumstances were taking the lead story.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this kid, when he got drafted, he then, as soon as he got drafted, went and saw his mother who had a terminal illness in hospital, who then passed away a couple of hours later.
Yeah.
And told her, I got drafted, I made it, Mum. And from all reports, and obviously none of us were in that room, but the bottom
Oh, you
line
weren't
was
there?
that she would, no, I wasn't involved.
Sorry, I shouldn't have wrecked you a bit.
Bit rude. But he was, she was just holding on for this
Yeah.
moment. And it's sad, but I think there's something really kind. Sometimes when horrible situations happen in this world and you lose someone like that, there's a little bit of kindness and a silver lining
silver
that he
lining.
was able to just hold on for that moment and,
Yeah.
and probably go with a little bit of peace in her mind, a little bit of, you know what, he's made it. He's
And
in the
good
NFL.
organization, good city that loves football. They love their team.
Go and play next
He's
to
in the-
Cam Hayward.
Yeah.
He's gonna coach you up. From all reports, he's extremely coachable.
Yep.
Extremely likable.
Great kid. Like Oregon never said a bad thing about him. Like,
No.
So at Oregon, he took all his NIL money he got to buy a van that was wheelchair accessible so
Yep.
his mum could come to the games
Yep.
and watch him.
Shit.
Yep.
I was speaking to my old man about this yesterday. I wish he didn't go to the Steelers because I really want to root for this guy. But fuck the Steelers.
No, you can't. Not for this.
You can
Fuck
root,
the Steelers,
you can
but
root
I
for the
like this
player,
guy.
You can root for the player, not the team.
Not the team.
One thing just on him in particular, the football player is so good. There's like he'll shoot in front of you. He's that quick as a massive human, and then the next play he'll just drive you back into the quarterback. Like he's just a really good footballer, gone to the perfect situation. Just a great pick.
Yeah, I like
sounds like good value at 21 too.
Well, there's so many good D tackles.
Well, that's what my point on was.
Nolan's
talking about the D tackles.
really
there was
good
just an
too.
absolute run on them.
Yeah.
I think there were 12 taken in the first 3 rounds, which is a lot.
14 in the
14 in
first
the first 3
three.
rounds. Yeah,
And they're
which is
all
huge
very
amount.
good. Like in another draft, they're top 15. It is
Yeah.
phenomenal. But
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Now let's get to a bit of the negatives of the first round, so Falcons took Jalen Walker at 15, which I didn't hate because he fell. Like he was projected
Yep.
as a top 10 guy.
Yep.
He fell. I want to see why he fell because
Yep.
normally, again, when we talk about teams when The consensus is they don't want a guy. It can sometimes be that there was just some better players than him. It's simple as that.
Yep.
But there was a lot of.
He's also a bit of a tweener.
Yes,
And I don't know if you
yes.
want to burn that.
He's
hype.
a linebacker slash. He reminds me of who's N'Kobe Dean when they drafted N'Kobe Dean. Like
You,
he's a
you mean Nolan Smith?
no. I mean N'Kobe Dean when the Eagles took N'Kobe Dean. He's like he can play off ball. He can rush. He can
Yeah.
do a lot of things well, but he doesn't excel in any area. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what a shit franchise like the Falcons can actually do with him. That's
Yeah.
my concern is will they know how to use. He reminds me of Isaiah Simmons actually, like that sort of a
the
dude.
tweener, but yeah, on the
Obviously, Simmons was
backfield.
more of a linebacker DB
Safety,
sort of tweener.
yeah.
This guy's a D line linebacker tweener, and I don't know
like-
where he fits.
I like
And he's
going
small.
for the swing because it's so he is measurable. Like he's just like the write up was he's just a genetic freak built
Yes.
like a Greek god. Like
Yes, he is. I'm seeing a picture of him right now.
yeah, he's just that player, and I don't mind them taking the swing on him round 15. My biggest issue
is the trade back in.
the trade back in. What are they doing?
So they traded back into the first round at pick 26
Yep.
to get James Pierce Jr.
Who-
They gave up
Oh.
next year's first round pick, next year's second.
I think they swapped seconds this
They,
year.
they swapped seconds. Brocky, can you get it up? Because I've confused my own self in writing this. But yeah, they gave up. The bottom line is
Gave up way too much for
everyone's
it.
going to remember is they gave up next year's first round pick. So the Giants traded back into the first round and gave up no next year first round pick.
And
These
at
guys
third-
traded back into the 26th pick and gave up next year's first. Now, I said Jaguars earlier, I like a team that's backing themselves to be good, but going from 5 to 2 for a generational talent,
Yep.
theoretical generational talent, because all this conversation is theoretical.
Yep.
But them going from 26 to maybe they might have a top 10 pick next year. That's
Yeah,
not
they're very-
unrealistic.
Yeah, top 15. Yeah, yeah.
It's
that's
not
fair.
unrealistic
Yeah,
that
that's
they
fair.
have that pick next year.
they're not a surefire playoff team by all means.
No, because
So-
the division's getting better
You
around.
got the Panthers winning the division, so
Brocky, hit us with it.
So the Falcons traded pick 46, 242, and their future first round pick. Rams traded pick 26 and 101 this year.
So they got a third back this. They got a first and a third back this year, and gave up a first and a fifth next year.
Yes.
I just think firsts are so valuable.
Mm.
Like they are just, especially if you're not the Chiefs or the Eagles or even
You know
like
you're picking pick 25
like
onwards.
I would be more confident in the Jags being a playoff team next year than the Falcons.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm not confident in either of them, but I'd be more confident in the Jags because we've seen Penix play 4 games.
yeah.
And
I
they
think
should
that's
have
fair. They got a more experienced QB,
and the
that-
Falcons
yeah,
should
that's
have
fair.
won the division last year, but shit the bed down the
They shouldn't
stretch because they were too slow to swap from Cousins to Penix.
Yeah.
The rumor I heard about this trading back up to get the 26 to pick this guy was because they were scared the Ravens were going to pick him as well. So they
Well, the
wanted to get
Ravens
ahead of the
wouldn't have
Ravens.
picked him because he's not a sexual offender. So they
Wow.
only
Hey,
take those.
full
sorts of
John
Ravens.
Cena, fuck you all.
No, but like, don't get me wrong. I don't hate the Falcons' biggest issue is defense and pass rusher.
Yep.
So they took 2 guys that
Two swings
theoretically
at
can,
it.
can rush the passer. So I don't hate the theory behind it. I just don't love giving up next year's first round.
I like
pick
the
when you're
player.
a
I
mid-tier
like what
team.
I like the player. I like where they took him, but to give up the first round pick for it is dumb.
That's what ruins it.
My issue with Pierce is that we've seen too many of these one trick speed twitchy DNs that look good in college, but when the tackles are running a 4.5 and a 4.6,
Yeah.
and they're just
In fairness, there's not many tackles around a 4.6. Probably more a 4.85.
all right. But you get my
I
point.
get your point. Yeah.
You know, you're not blowing past, you know, the third 3-star
The-
prospect.
The scheme's
Yeah.
different in NFL.
Yeah.
They can plan out how to
Everyone
beat someone
is
in
lightning
rush.
quick in the NFL.
It's
and
real
these
Taco
guys-
Charlton vibes. Real Taco Charlton when the Cowboys took Taco Charlton. It was like, oh, we need an edge. We're just taking this edge. And he can't do anything but run fast.
Yeah.
And everyone else runs faster than him.
And you just get
everyone's
washed.
bigger.
But
Yeah.
stronger than him,
And
yeah.
he just gets annihilated. And spoiler alert, he's now out of the NFL.
He's good against the run, but it's just not his strength. And I don't like. You could have got that type of archetype without giving up your second and your first.
Yes, you could just waited and got someone similar.
Yes, yeah.
And or
Or they love him.
potentially you could have got him in the second round. Like,
Yep.
you don't know. Like Mike Green was projected to go in the first round to the Bengals and fell to the end of the second to the
Yeah,
Ravens.
And
Like,
Ezeraku is probably a better prospect. and
Exactly.
he was right there.
and they got him higher. Like this guy is 196, 111 kilos.
He's a bit light. Yeah,
Like to be that tall at that weight, you're light. Your only thing
In
is
NFL,
speed.
Yeah.
Now he's from Tennessee. It's a good college.
SEC
Again,
football. Yeah,
again, in a year's time, none of this could matter if they're both good.
I could be wrong. I just right now in this point in time, I just don't like trading back into the first for a little bit of a one-trick pony.
And if the Falcons are good next year and make the playoffs and
I'll lead humble pie.
and win a wild card and their picks like 24, doesn't matter.
Whatever. Yeah.
But if they fall apart and there's a top 10 pick, then the new coach and GM is going to have a really shitty opinion on this pick.
the,
well,
Ram-
he's
the
probably-
Rams won this trade and they didn't even pick.
Yeah, that's it. The Rams could get a top 10 pick next year and do nothing.
Fuck those picks.
And they'll probably trade those 2 picks for pick 1.
Which is
to
such
get
a
a quarterback.
character arc because McVay hates drafting players,
Yeah.
but now he's going to probably end up with 2 really good first round picks next year.
Yeah, maybe.
And then again, it gives them caliber next year.
Yeah,
if
they'll-
Stafford's
Yeah.
finished,
Done.
they
Yeah.
can move up and try and get
And
their
circling
quarterback.
back to what the Browns did, this is why I like what the Browns did, is because now they've got a potential at worst, or let's say at worst, it's inside the top 20
Yeah,
pick.
like there's
plus their pick. They can move up.
we
into-
would think like it's the best case scenario for the Jaguars are they win a playoff game.
Yeah, and
That's
they're
the
picking
best
around
case
20.
scenario.
Yeah.
They're not going to beat a Bills, a Ravens, a Chiefs.
Something's gone wrong if they
like
do.
I don't even think they're better than the Broncos. Like I just don't think they are.
Chargers.
So they're probably going to be
Texans.
at worst they're going to be like pick 20, 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah.
Which then you can suck that up and you can do very well.
That's
with
what
it.
Minnesota used to get
Get Jeff-
McCarthy.
Yeah, and Jefferson.
No, but like
to
they used
trade up
to
and get
trade up
McCarthy.
to get McCarthy.
Yeah, you're right.
So
All right, let's go to the Green Bay Packers taking their first skill position player
see the
since
crowd going nuts as well?
2002. And the guy who presented it, I forgot what his name is now. I think he's the old GM, but he nailed it. He was so good.
Yeah.
And they take Matthew Golden out of Texas. My talk about him in the preseason, in the what's the plan is very fast, very small.
Small,
yeah.
I think I said fucking fast, fucking small.
Yeah.
This guy's he's tiny, 1.8, 180 centimeters, 86 kilos. He ran a 4.22 40-yard dash.
Was that
Pretty
the
quick.
fastest?
No, he didn't break the record. He was close. They
No,
thought
but
he
like,
might break
of the draft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
by
Oh,
far
yeah,
the fastest.
yeah.
He's an absolute athlete. I think Aaron Rodgers is sitting at home when the draft happened, punching holes in walls, being like, finally you do it. Finally, you give him someone super fast. But I'm sure the Packers were desperate for Ted McMillan to get to them. And the fact that he went 8 obviously was never going to happen.
Mm.
But they were desperate for an offensive infusion to go with Jordan Love. Jordan Love has arguably the biggest arm in the NFL. I don't even think it's arguable. I think he has the biggest arm in the NFL.
Richardson's up there, but yeah, definitely.
He's a lot better than Richardson.
Like
though. But
definitely
there's-
cannon.
There's
Yeah.
there's not many guys with a cannon that Jordan Love
They're
has.
They're not
So
in the
you
same
take
discussion.
the fastest guy and you pair him with a quarterback that can launch it,
Yep.
who already
And a
has
coach.
some good caliber football
Yeah, the
players
floor,
at wide
yeah.
receiver,
Yep.
and a great coach that can scheme him up.
Yep.
I think this was a home run hit.
Yeah.
I'd be really disappointed if this didn't work
They
out.
also backed that up as well with Williams, who's a bit of a Gadget is probably underselling him, but you get the ball in his hands and things happen. He can be a returner. He can do all of those sort of things as well. So they've got 2 playmakers out of the draft, which you can't be upset about if you're a Green Bay fan for sure.
No, absolutely. I think if you're a Green Bay fan, you can't be upset by this.
No, that's a
Um,
great pick for them.
Yeah, I loved it. The next one, sorry, I've just gone out of it. The next one was Bills had an absolute weapon at pick 30 with Maxwell Hairston. Great
Yep.
name. I'm gonna just before we talk about the
Shout out.
player and what he does, him in the green room was one of the best things I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was cool.
Him dabbing up and like you know how some dudes they're like disingenuine,
Yeah.
celebrating.
Yeah, he was
Every
hyped.
guy that got drafted, you would have thought he was their family member. He
Yeah.
was so happy for him, so wrapped. He was hugging them all as they walked past. And then when he got picked to the Buffalo Bills, which is again fits the position need, outstanding athlete,
Yeah.
outstanding athleticism grade, and every one of those green room guys that had already been drafted ran over and like got around him like he just hit a walk-off home run and were just celebrating him. And I don't know. I
like it, yeah.
like dudes like that. I like dudes that find joy in other people's success. And I think he's going to a really good organization. McDermott's a very, very good defensive coach.
Yep.
And I think he's gone into a great position to have a lot of success.
They also got Landon Jackson as well, who's an edge from Arkansas, I believe. I can't remember what school, but he's
I think it's Arkansas.
and
No, it
he's
definitely is not. I can say.
he's Arkansas. I should have just backed myself in. And he's an absolute. So he beat leukemia.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, no, he's got alopecia. Sorry. He's got alopecia, and he's got
Alopecia.
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 Alopecia. It's what
I've only
Michael
seen it
Jackson had.
written.
It's why he turned white.
We're gonna go past that. And
Apparently.
It's the Jaden
Please.
Smith.
Please, let's go past that.
yeah, he's just a great kid. Does a lot of good stuff for the community, and it's someone. He's got all the measurables. He's a big human. He's someone that the city's going to get behind, and I think he's like a future star, learning behind Russo and
They
all these-
also back on Hairston. I didn't realize the Bills re-signed Tre'Davious White,
Yep.
who his comp is actually Tre'Davious
Yeah,
White.
yeah.
Right.
So be able to go in with the guy that you're comped behind
Yep.
and learn from him. And again, without knowing this kid from a bar of soap, from what I've seen of him, he's going to be the kid that walks in and goes,
Sits next to him in the
Tre'Davious,
locker.
you're going to have to tell me to fuck off at some point.
Yeah.
You tell me when you're sick of me and I'll leave.
Yeah.
I'm going to be next to you every second of every day, every training. I just think the Bills, again, position fit. They
Team
This
fit,
is
culture
such-
fit. He just seems like a good
again,
dude
they
too.
did such a good organization. The fact that he was so hyped to go to Buffalo isn't the most beautiful of places to live with all the NFL franchises.
Hey, you shut your mouth, Josh Allen.
They got great chicken wings.
Yeah.
Great chicken wings out of
Well,
Buffalo.
Apparently, their chicken wings are shit. And everyone
Josh
gets
Allen is a beautiful
everyone
man.
gets upset that they're called buffalo wings.
You got to go to room 40. That's where you got to go.
room. What's that, bro? Room
Room for these nuts.
So good.
John,
That's
Oh,
why you
wow.
love Josh Allen.
room 40's nuts. No, but I just think it was a great pick. I really loved it. And I said, as I was watching the first round go by, every time I'd be like, who's this dude with the dreadlocks and the glasses on? It's
Yeah.
just, I was like, he's just some nuffy. Like, he's-
Yeah.
And then when he got drafted, I was
Make-A-Wish kid.
like, damn, this kid's a legend.
Oh
Yeah.
wait, he's actually the fastest
And then
scorer in the draft.
when everyone came and just surrounded him, even like Abdul Carter, the biggest asshole in the world, apparently,
Yeah.
was around him like hugging him from afar, not giving him
Is
too
that the
much.
rap on Carter that he's an asshole?
No, he's like
Just a
doesn't
full
shake hands
competitor.
before games.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Oh,
dap,
Doesn't help dudes up. He doesn't give a fuck.
he actually
doesn't
didn't
play
dap him
ball.
up as he walked past
No,
him too.
and
He was the only
Hairston-
one that didn't.
They interviewed Hairston afterwards and was like, "Oh, did you think Abdul Carter should dab you up?" And he's like, "Man, Abdul Carter does what he does."
what
He
wants.
nodded and smiled at me.
That's recognition enough.
That's as good as him
Yeah.
kissing me.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, "That dude's a dog."
One thing I think the four best teams got significantly better too. So Chiefs area of need, we touched on that.
Yeah,
got
definitely
the best tackle.
Yeah.
Did an ACL, he fell to him.
Which is just
Philly-
which you know is just gonna work out.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just know it.
Philly
Well-
picked one of my favorite players in the draft, Jahid Campbell, who's just an absolute stud.
Well, let's talk about G.A. Campbell.
I can just- and
'cause-
Bills drafted exceptionally well from where they were drafting, and Baltimore just got value on every pick.
Yeah.
So the best just got better, and
Actually, let's do a quick Baltimore chat so Brock can get a stiffy.
Yep.
How do you know he doesn't have one?
He always has one when I'm around.
Definitely got
So
one right now.
Baltimore starts with
Tedeschi's
B,
level.
Brock, so you got to go to the left because D's the left. You got to go
Yeah.
B. See Baltimore? So B's before D in the alphabet.
Go fuck yourself, James.
No, you know what? It's been a long day.
yeah. So
they got
Malachi Starks.
Malachi. Is Malachi one of the best names going around?
Yes. Yep.
If I ever have a son, which is obviously never going to happen, his name's going to be Malachi.
I never
Arthur.
say never, bro.
Malachi Arthur.
Are you shooting blanks?
Dudes,
Well,
Never say never.
the
I
dude's
don't think
just
theoretically I could shoot blanks with just the amount of sheer production that's involved.
the dude's just like he complements what they do so well. He's a genuine, like you throw the ball near him and he's picking it off.
And he allows Hamilton. He actually is so versatile. He can play back,
he
forward.
can do both.
So he
yeah.
allows between him and Hamilton, they can
Yeah.
actually both do the similar thing.
Yes.
Rocky, take us away without.
It
without
really
call.
sets up
Push,
Hamilton.
push the button first. Thank you.
Double tap that one.
Ooh,
Nah,
baby.
I love this pick for the Ravens because it does mean, Hamilton can go play nickel where he can dominate in, knowing we have someone back there. He's not the fastest safety we could have got,
No.
but goddamn, is he a ball hawk? He's Ed Reed reincarnated. That's how I see him.
Careful.
Sometimes,
careful.
sometimes
Oh, he
speed's-
hits. He can hit too.
Biggest call.
Sometimes speed's not everything. Sometimes if you're just in football intelligent,
That's what
you
I mean.
get to the right spot. It doesn't matter if you're half a step slower than the fastest guy.
100%.
Yeah.
If you find, if you
Instincts
can
means a
navigate,
lot.
yeah,
That's what they were saying about him. He can read it better than anyone else in the draft board, and they got the best pick. I really wanted them to take Scotty's guy. I was really disappointed because I really
I
wanted to
would've
hold
been
that
No,
over
but
Scotty's head.
I think
I would've got a
Malachi.
jersey.
I think Starks is a better fit for them
Yes, 100% better fit.
because Emanwari, who we'll talk about soon, he can only play down in the box. Like he's not as good a deep safety as
Well,
what
he can play
Starks is, a
both,
bit
but
more
yeah, he's
versatile.
That
definitely
means Hamilton would have
And
to
then
go back.
him and Hamilton can do either. Like if they want to, depending on the team you're playing,
Sure.
Yes.
you can be like, hey, we want to have Hamilton up closer because they're going to run more, or we're going to do different. It just adds versatility.
There's a world where, like, come playoff time, we're talking about these two as the best safety duo in the NFL.
I could not agree
Yeah.
with you more, George. I think
One
there's
thing
a
Atlanta
very
got as
realistic
well
chance.
was Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. He's a very good safety that I thought that may have gone here, but he's not as good tackler.
Yeah,
Where they complement each other absolutely perfectly. So the knock on Watts was that his open field tackling and all of that sort of stuff's not as good, but his deep coverage is way better. So I think they've just picked the better safety out of the two.
well, safeties kind of you get three echelons of safeties. There's safeties that can play in the box that are
Hybrid.
a nickel line. Like 10 years ago, they would have been linebackers. Like
Yeah.
that's. Or there's guys that can only play deep, like your Earl Thomas.
Yep.
Those sorts of dudes are just deep coverage.
Earl
They're
Thomas-
more.
That's
they're-
almost laid the wood.
Actually, unfair.
That-
to say.
that was-
Earl
yeah.
Thomas was an anomaly.
Yeah.
But the guys that can only play deep and they're more cornerback sort of safeties. They're
Yeah.
more coverage guys.
Yep.
And then there's the dudes that do both. And the dudes that do both don't come around very often.
No.
They're very rare. Now, I'm not saying Stark's going to be the best safety in football, but he has that rare ability that he can do both.
Yep.
So he's got the best chance to turn into that sort
And
of
Hamilton
player.
already does both.
And Hamilton is
you
I
can
feel
unlock
like
him.
I feel like you could take the description of Starks in this draft and go back 2 years ago, and it would be almost identical to what.
Well, that's what Emanwari is.
Yeah. And let's get to the last one. I know George has been just chomping at the bit. Our boy Howie Roseman trades back one pick in the draft, and people
Pretty cheeky, isn't it? I love it.
and people that are saying, "Oh, why did he trade back one pick? That's stupid."
Trade forward.
It's
one
because straight forward one pick.
Yeah.
It's because the Chiefs would have got an offer to move up for Jihad Campbell, and the Chiefs would have called the Eagles and said, "Dudes, you drummed us in the Super Bowl.
Mm.
Respect where respect's due." And obviously Howie's due. But we're going to. Sorry, was that a lot? And where someone wants to trade in to take Jihad Campbell. We know you want him. We're not going to draft him because we've got Bolton. We've got.
We need a tackle.
No,
we need a tackle.
We're going no
Absolutely,
tackle.
We need a tackle. Yeah.
We know you want linebacker. How about we work this out?
Yeah.
We just
This will-
we just swap picks.
Gentlemen's
Just,
agreement.
I guarantee that's because people are like, why would they do that? It's because other teams were saying
Yeah.
we're coming up because we know the Eagles are taking Campbell
Yeah.
because all they draft is Alabama and Georgia players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know they're taking
Works out
Campbell
well.
and we want to jump him. And I think the Chiefs called and said, hey, this is what's
They're
this-
offering us 6.
this
Give
is
us
what's
a
up.
fifth. We'll
Yeah.
take it.
Let's sort it out. And I think that's why it got done. And again, Jihad Campbell fits perfectly into what the Eagles want to do.
Amen.
He can pass rush. You can play him as an edge rusher if you
Well,
want.
I think that's where he'll play. He'll play as an edge.
No, I think
I
he'll
think
play at Mike
Yep.
while N'Kobe Dean's recovering.
Yeah, okay.
I think there's a potential that when N'Kobe Dean's recovered and he can only play Mike, or that's his best spot,
That's his
then
best
you
spot,
can you can play Jihad Campbell as like a base player, as a
He's
off-ball
too good for
linebacker.
that. He's too good for that.
Or then you say to N'Kobe Dean, you're
He's-
now our tweener.
I think it makes N'Kobe Dean expendable.
Yeah, well, again, it also backs that if N'Kobe Dean doesn't
come
recover
back.
well,
Come back from the knee.
which
yeah.
sometimes, and it sucks. As I said, we play with injuries off at the Vault Studio.
Mm.
If he doesn't recover well and can't be the player he was, this guy can just slot in and probably be a better player.
And you know Fangio's going to make him a Pro Bowl.
No, I
Fangio or
I think you said
Ah,
Spags.
shut
Make
up.
him better.
You definitely said that.
You definitely said Spags. Both you two were just raving on about Spags coaching the Eagles to the point where I had to Google it and
And
see if he changed
Yeah,
teams.
he's
I didn't
consistent.
notice.
Yeah.
fantastic value at 31 too.
Oh, awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, but me and Scotty were watching watching the draft together, and we're like, Campbell's surely going at this pick from
Yeah.
about, I reckon, pick 15.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
surely he's going
Yeah.
now. Why are they not taking Campbell?
Yeah.
A lot of people on
Yeah,
their big
it's-
boards had him as like a top 10 player.
Yeah.
So at
Unfortunately,
31,
he's an off-ball linebacker, and they don't tick the buttons for like position value. They don't tick all the
but
buttons.
teams that are already good love these kind of players.
I'm
Yep.
telling you, I said it in the preview. We may look back and he's the top 5 player of this draft.
Yeah.
That's how high I am. He's so good.
Yeah,
I'll probably
off-ball
say that about
linebackers
8
don't
guys.
get the respect they deserve. I
Yeah.
truly believe that.
Yeah.
It's like that position. It's like they're the new running backs. It's like they just don't get any credit for what they do.
Yeah.
But it's bizarre to me because I feel like they're so important.
It's changing because you're looking at the best defenses and they all have this stud linebacker.
yeah, true.
So it's starting to turn around. So
yeah, I think it will. I think it will eventually
Yeah.
turn. All right, that's it for the first round stuff. We're going to touch on a couple of notes. Let's start with Scotty. Let's take us away. There was a safety that I think you were mildly high on for the
Mildly?
entire draft process, and it just so happened that
oh,
he gets on to the Seattle Seahawks.
That was unreal.
Nick Emenwari at pick 35.
Great
It
trade.
couldn't have been more. They traded up to get him, didn't give up much.
No.
Most, like 90% of people had him as the best safety in the draft. This guy is an absolute dog. We talked about him nonstop, and Seattle managed to land him at pick 35 in the draft. Run us down on how you were feeling when that happened.
I just smashed out leg press, so I was a little bit tired. I was out of breath,
Yeah.
and then I was following it. I saw Seattle was picking next, and I was just like,
Well, I can get the transcript up if you want from the.
Yeah.
No, let's not start. Let's not start a
We're
precedent of
not,
bringing
we're
up
not
the group
adding the
chat.
chat. No. We're not.
no,
adding the
look,
chat.
obviously I was
dangerous.
extremely high on him, and just someone watch the film. I've been begging everyone just watch the film. The guy's just a complete player.
Derwin James is a great comp.
Derwin James is accurate. I
Wow,
think he
okay.
could be surpass that. It's perfect for Seattle. Seattle, obviously, the Mike McDonald, the old Baltimore, that like he turned Kyle Hamilton into what he is. And Nick Emenwari is literally the carbon copy of that, just a bigger frame and probably a slightly faster dude. Seattle's already got two really good safeties in Jordan Love and Kobe Bryant. They can run that 3 safety look now. Obviously, I was
I think
just
it's a great move.
ecstatic.
Yeah, you were. And again, I won't out the chat,
Yeah.
but Scotty was ecstatic.
Yes.
Ecstatic.
Very good.
It might have propelled his sexual moves for the rest of the day. Let's just leave it
I
there.
did not leave the toilets for like 20 minutes. I was running dry.
Wow.
You did it 6 times.
Wait out yourself.
I'm
I
not out.
I just think it's hilarious.
He's the public masturbator.
I just episode 51 of the package of the pay. Go back in here. I just think it was hysterical with all to the point where people were messaging us saying, "Scotty, like any safeties in this draft?" And that he fell to Seattle. I just think it's
It's
outstanding.
kismet, bro. It was meant to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes things just work out. I have a really random one I want to discuss before we start wrapping
From
it
Seattle?
up. No, this is from the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Ratliff.
No.
Oh.
This is very random. So in the third round, pick 70. So in the third round, the Lions traded with the Jags, and they gave up. They got the 70th overall pick. They gave up the 182nd pick. Sorry, they got the 182nd pick and a 6th-round pick for next year. And they gave up the 102nd pick, a third next, and 2/3 next year.
Yep.
And I was like, what are these guys doing? This doesn't make any sense. Like, who were they drafting? And the guy they drafted was named Isaac Tesla, right? This guy played for the Razorbacks, Arkansas Razorbacks,
yeah.
Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yep.
He's 6'4". He ran a 4.43. He has a 39.5 vertical and a 4.05 shuttle.
Jeez.
So he's an athletic freak.
Mm.
Yeah.
To double down, in 3 seasons, he didn't have a dropped ball.
Yep.
Wow.
He's an outstanding run blocker. He has a 54% catch rate on contested catches, and he played 68% of the snaps from the slot.
Yep.
He played 2 years at JUCO and then
Yep.
went to Arkansas.
Yeah.
They gave up 2 third-round picks plus this year's third-round pick to move up 30 picks to the front of it to the Tennessee to the first pick in the third round to take a guy that no one had heard of. And I just want to note this now because I feel like Dan Campbell cooking with this.
Yeah. Okay.
I just feel like this there's something about him, and I think he's going to have a big impact next season. Because why give up so much next year? 2 third-rounders plus this year's third-rounder
Clearly, they're confident.
to move up 30 picks.
Yeah, but they know
Wild.
this is where good teams have a guy on their draft board and they go, all right, this is our guy, fits our culture, fits our scheme.
And their
fits
fear
everything.
was, because they asked Dan Campbell about it, and their fear was, well, he probably would have been there in the 5th. And his response was, what if he wasn't?
Exactly. That's it.
mm.
That is
What-
the response.
What if he wasn't?
Yep.
They were just like, we want him. We're willing to sacrifice. Let's go get him now.
There was one thing
I love it. I'm
noticed.
just keep your eyes on Tesla.
There was one thing I noticed with the draft as well, and a lot of the good teams, like the perennial playoff teams, Kansas City did it, Eagles did it. Like these top-notch franchises were all giving up future draft picks to move into this year's 3rd and 4th round.
Yeah.
Everyone was moving up, and these teams, they were getting the Patriots picks, the Jags picks, all these other teams that were like,
You guys are going to suck. Let's
Yeah.
get some picks now from you.
yeah, like
The
sure.
Titans also consistently traded back.
I did not understand that.
They just kept moving. They moved back in the 2nd round. They
Yep.
they kept just
Well,
moving
Seattle
back.
got the pick
Yeah.
for Imanwari, yeah.
Which I still couldn't work out why they had the 1st pick in the draft and then the 4th pick in the 2nd, or the 3rd pick in the 2nd.
I think
round.
the Cleveland pick was in the 2nd as well.
What did they trade for Cleveland? Oh no, but Jags traded with Cleveland. That's why I couldn't work it out.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could.
Oh,
easily-
yeah.
I'm sure if we looked into it, it would be very easy to find.
Yeah.
But why they didn't have the 1st pick in every round? But they've obviously swapped picks. At
Yeah,
some
they
point
probably
in
lost
round.
lost the rights to their pick.
Yeah,
It was just something I noticed as well, and you just triggered my memory that a lot of the good teams are really doing a lot of work in the 3rd, 4th rounds, and it just triggered that these good teams win championships in these rounds.
yeah,
And they consistently look for value in those rounds because everyone knows that the studs are in the 1st round and a couple of guys fall, and then there's always a few, the first 10 picks of the 2nd round are also, 1st round-ish talent, and then these rounds 3 and 4 are just like gold mines for these good teams.
yeah, absolutely.
So,
It was like I said, in terms of like this obviously wasn't the high end draft that we normally get,
yep.
and only one team, three teams didn't take their first picks, which was Jags and Browns obviously swapped. Giants took the
Texans,
Rams,
Rams.
and the Texans swapped with the Giants, and the Rams traded out.
Yeah.
But the fact that none of it kind of happened until the draft was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I said this a couple of weeks ago. It's the first time going into a draft that all 32 teams had their own picks.
Yep.
For about 15 years or something like that. So it was cool
That's
to
a long
see.
time. Yeah.
It is. It's very cool to see. And there was a lot of good players drafted. And again, everything we say, it's all theoretical until we see these guys on the field. Some of these picks that we think are disastrous will end up being really
Of course.
good.
Yeah. That's why we're
Um,
not getting paid millions of dollars to run a team.
Yes. Yeah.
like,
Yet.
I also like
Uh,
Seattle taking a swing with
Maybe never.
Jalen Milrow.
Thank you, George.
in the
Maybe
third.
never.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that. I
We'll
like
talk
that.
Jalen Milrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, for a project guy that doesn't have all the attributes, I think taking him in the 3rd is completely fine. And like we've said with the Red Rocket, I've drawn a
Dalton.
blank. Dalton.
Andy Dalton, Red Rock?
No,
Or
no.
George's.
No,
What are you talking about?
Seattle,
here?
it's-
Darnold. Sam
Darnold, yeah. Like it's only guaranteed for this year, and then depending on incentives is the guaranteed value for next year. So, you've got him on the books for 2 years. You've got 2 years to
You can get out of him next year for 18 million. You can get him the year after for
0. Yeah,
Donuts.
yeah. So I don't mind taking the swing, and that's where like these project guys should be taken. And we're watching franchises get a little bit more cluey with the quarterbacks that aren't full pro ready.
Yeah, I feel like teams aren't
They're not reaching anymore.
reaching for
Good,
quarterbacks as much.
nor should they be.
Yeah.
Like Milrow, I feel like 5 years ago, Milrow somehow
Top 10.
he somehow creeps into the like top 15, 20
Yeah,
pick.
yeah.
He's like a first rounder because of his raw athleticism.
Yeah.
But now teams are kind of going, well, let's get him in the 3rd and we'll develop him. And everyone's thinking that way, saying,
Yep.
well, he's a development. Let's not throw him to the wolves. And I think guys like Geno Smith and Sam Darnold have helped with that because
Yep.
teams are, and Baker's a good example too. Teams are seeing where like down the line, they're like, well, these guys are turning into really good players, but they were just forced into playing in
Terrible
those early
situations.
years.
Terrible teams have
Yeah.
the top picks, and like they're getting the top picks that they don't have talent to win games.
Yeah.
And one quarterback who's 19, 20 that's played, let's just say 20 college games, is not going to turn a franchise around that often.
No, there's very rare amount that do.
Yep.
And even the very rare amount that we think are going to, you're still operating
Statistically
at 50%.
don't.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
you're still operating at a 50% shot on the Lawrences, the Lucks, the Griffin. Now, Robert Griffin's a horrible case. He was a great player, but got hurt. But that comes into the statistic of they just don't always work out no matter how good they are. It just doesn't happen sometimes. So, yeah, I think teams are getting a lot smarter. I think teams are getting, I feel the last couple of seasons, maybe 3 seasons, teams are getting a lot smarter at drafting overall.
Yeah.
Like, I just think they're getting cleverer at not buying into the
Unless you're
hype of
Atlanta.
media.
All the Colts at pick 4.
I think it was pick 3. Actually.
Pick 3.
Yeah.
Rocky, any questions?
No questions yet, but I think you'll find that a lot of teams didn't reach for a quarterback simply for the fact that every team somewhat has their quarterback they're happy with, except for
Fair.
like the Steelers. Every other team has the quarterback they're willing to go with this year.
I think the
Rod-
Steelers,
Steelers
are
gonna get
hoping for
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
I
But
guarantee you Rodgers
that's
or
what
Kirk
happened.
Cousins plays for the Steelers next year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd,
that's
I'd,
pretty
I'd
fair.
put any money you want on it, right?
Pretty fair.
No real questions. Just Regan's been in the hat chat pretty much the whole time. So shout out to
Fact
Regan.
check.
He's already gone to bed.
Shout out
On,
to
on your
Shout out
Rego.
Regan. Anything else? Nah, not really. Jay, Kempy said ultimate hype man. We were talking about the Bills pick as well.
Absolutely.
Tommy Arthur just fact checking us, but he said Genty is now the second highest paid running back after Barkley.
Oh,
No,
really?
No, CMC's high paid.
Yeah.
CMC would probably be high paid. Oh,
I'm going to fact check you
Fir-
there, Tommy. You're
first
wrong.
round draft pick. First round draft pick. We get a fair
Maybe,
bag, but
yeah,
yeah, nah.
pretty close.
Shout out to everyone in the chat. It's been fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that does us. We won't be this Wednesday. We'll be back to normal scheduling the following Wednesday. We just wanted to get in, before all the draft hype wore off, and obviously we knew it was going to be a bit of a longer episode. So you've got a week and a half now to listen. You can come back and listen
You'll
to it in
need it.
parts.
We're ticking
Um,
over 2 hours.
Yeah, but that's going to be it for us. We'll be back in not this Wednesday week, as
Yep.
they say in the big leagues. Shout out to Brocky.
Is that
on
a
the ones
fortnight?
and twos. No, it's not a fortnight. It's a fortnight.
Over a
13
fortnight.
days.
No, a fortnight's 2
We'll
weeks.
teach you how weeks work.
Please,
Yeah.
please. I don't want to be late. I don't want to miss a show.
You don't want to miss a show.
Let's end the show, boys.
Shout out to Scotty and George for all their work. Hey, enjoy this shit. It's the best time of the year. Get hyped by your rookies. It could all fall apart.
One sec.
later.
One came in late.
All right.
DJ said, "Why is George nicknamed the Red Rocket?"
We'll-
Let that one go to the
you know,
keeper. Just let that one hang.
Use your
play and miss.
Use your imagination.
You know how when dogs get erections? Okay, now let's just move on.
Yeah, end the stream.
Shout out to the Sporting Globe. Peace out, everyone.
Peace out.
Thank you.
I hope the Eagles lose on a call.